The sunlight came through the high-pitched dome filter, and it looked like a thin layer of metal smoke at the simulated training ground at the Federal Institute of Machinery A. The air is filled with the smell of motor oil and electricity ozone, and the virtual projection screen far away is filled with blue light, showing real-time battle data. Here is the future International Alliance of Stars, where thousands of primitive students grind in this steel forest, learning to drive the big things, the armor. These giants are the powerful tools of humans to fight alien threats. A top-sharp armor can tear the fleet, and the energy cannon is their trump card, which can evaporate an asteroid at one time. Sun Yu sat in the driving stock of the basic motor armor Iron Wire No. 1, and his sweat slid down his head, sticking to the point of crawling like a claw. He bit his teeth and held the rod tightly with both hands to try to let the bulky big guy move forward. On the screen, the simulated virtual worms were coming like a tide, the projection of those alien creatures was distorted, and Finley's touch was dancing in the air, making a low buzzing sound. Sun Yu's heartbeat was like a war drum, and the instructor's instructions were recalled in the sea of brain: concentrate. Close the target and launch. Don't die, it's stuck again. Sun Yu whispered a low spell, his fingers danced on the touchpad, but he only changed to the armor and shook powerlessly. The Iron No. 1 link emits a harsh friction sound, like a galaxy wheel on the morning number. It took a step forward and was knocked down by a simulated snail, and the screen instantly turned red and failed. The training room's soundbar sounded a cold tip: Student Sun Yu failed in a simulated battle. Score, 12 points. Keep working hard. The students around burst into laughter. Sun Yu climbed out of the driving wheel, his face was blue, and he felt like he was stepping on the tip of the pin every step. At the training ground, a group of geniuses were chatting around their mock armor. The handsome guy leaned against the door, hugged his arms and chest, and a disdainful curve appeared on the corner of his mouth. He is a star in the college. He operates top-level armor like an arm to use his fingers, and the hit rate of the energy cannon is as high as 98%. Yunyu, have you fallen again? Jun Jie's voice sounded, carrying the high-ranking hype. His followers, the couples from a few small groups, accompanied immediately, laughing like a whip in Sun Yu's heart. You can't even play the basic arrogance well, and you still want to be a masturbator? Go home and go there. Sun Yu lowered his head and said nothing, his fists turned white. He admired these geniuses. They were born with magia, but what about himself? I grew up on the planet on the side, and the admission to the college was entirely due to luck. Every day, watching Junjie and the others killing each other on the simulated scene, the energy cannon birds made him unable to sleep at night. Why can't I do it? A sense of unwillingness in his heart was like a flame, but he could only swallow it and walk towards the rest area. Sun Yu, don't be discouraged. A low voice came from the side. It was the instructor Jianhua, a burly middle-aged man with a face full of the frost of international warfare. He is a senior instructor in the school, as strict as a precision instrument, but his eyes always have a warm feeling. Basic training is already difficult. If you stick to it, your data display response speed is good. Sun Yu reluctantly smiled, thank you, instructor, but I can't keep up. Those geniuses. Jianhua patted his shoulder, and the force was as strong as a striking force. Genius? They just started early. The squid is not a toy, but a partner. Go, and have a high-pressure simulation at the next stage, and make sure to show yourself. Sun Yu pointed his head, took a deep breath, and boarded the Iron No. 1 again. This time it is a high-pressure mode, facing groups of alien zombies, simulating a real battle scene. The driving wheels closed and the virtual helmet was buckled, and the world instantly turned into a chaotic starry sky. The snails are like black clouds, touching hands dance, and the ground is shaking. When Sun Yu's armor started to move, he was surrounded by 3 pants, and the alarm sounded as if a knife had his eardrum cut. Closed. Fire. Sun Yu shouted, pushing the rod forward, but the aiming lens of the energy cannon only swayed on the screen, which was not accurate. As the snail came, the shield of the armor flashed, and the energy bar dropped rapidly. He felt his throat dry and his brain was blank. It was over, he was going to be eliminated again this time. At this moment, a strange buzzing bird rose up in the brain, like a fusion of metal and nerves. A translucent interface appears in the field, armor fusion system awakens. Test the host potential and fuse the energy cannon module. Initial level, initial level. Sun Yu was stunned. What was this? Fantasy? But the next second, his hands seemed to be integrated with the armor. The sluice becomes light like a feather, and the senses expand to every nerve of the armor. The aiming lens of the energy cannon is automatically locked, and the red flash on the screen is the leader of the gang group. The large female cannon is aiming at attacking. This is impossible. Sun Yu murmured, and an unprecedented sense of excitement surged in his heart. The system's sound continues, fused. Precision lock mode is activated. Energy output, 100%. His fingers were light, and the energy cannon was rushing. A dazzling blue light shot out from the shoulders of the armor, tearing the virtual space and heading straight for the head. The leader of the gang made a sharp roar and his hands danced, but it was no longer a problem. Rush! The core was hit, and the explosion of fire was released like a star explosion, and the surrounding zombies collapsed in an instant, shaking violently in the scene. Sun Yu's armor stood firm, but most of the energy bars remained. Outside the training ground, the whole scene was quiet. The students widened their eyes and Sun Yu's score rose to 95 points on the projection screen. The handsome face was pale, and the followers' ridicule was stuck in their throat. "This kid, is it open?" someone whispered. Sun Yu rushed out of the driving force, his heart beating like thunder. The system interface is hidden, but that power is still circulating in the body. He felt like he had changed, no longer the clumsy side-sided student. My inner inferiority recedes like a tide, and is replaced by a fire of confidence. I have potential, unlimited potential. The small group of men came up, and Junjia pushed the crowd with complex eyes. "Sun Yu, what's going on with you? How could the basic armor launch such an accurate energy cannon?" Sun Yu looked at him directly, and his mouth slightly raised. "It's just good to be healthy. Why don't you accept it?" "I'll pick it next time." The followers were in contact with each other, and one of the guys named Akai slapped. "Hey, don't joke, we're not that weak. Whether it is weak or not, you will know after you fight." Sun Yu's words were filled with a new atmosphere. System prompt flash, catch the ridicule group and unlock the primary energy increase. Control accuracy plus 20%. He felt that the echo of the armor was more sensitive, as if his arm was extended. Junjia snorted coldly, "It's interesting. See you next time. I'll be in the training ground." He turned away, but he was more alert in his pace. Janwa strode forward, his eyebrows slightly, unable to hide the surprise in his eyes. He grabbed Sun Yu's arm and his strength was not light. "Boy, this shot is not simple. Your data, the energy output exceeds the limit of the base armor. Tell me, how did it do it?" Sun Yu sneered for a moment and shook his head. "Instructor, I don't know either. It was just that. I felt that the machine armor heard me." Janwa stared at him for a long time, and then pointed out, "Okay, don't ask. But this is your turnaround. The high-strength training in the college is about to be opened, and I recommend you to participate. The squad simulation is just the beginning, and the real international threat will not be able to use the software. Are you ready for the change?" Sun Yu clamped his fists tightly and looked at the dome of the training ground, where the star projection flashed across the infinite universe. "Prepared, instructor. I want to prove that I am not a sidewall." Xiang stretched out the shadow of the armor, and the buzzing sound of the training ground gradually subsided, but Sun Yu's heart had already ignited a group of unscathing flames. The challenge of higher strength is approaching quietly. Terms, 1287. As night faded, the training grounds of the United Machinery College were once again awakened by morning light. The air was filled with clear condensation vapor and a faint smell of electricity, as if the rest of the battle last night had not yet dissipated. Sun Yu arrived at the venue early, put his hands in his pockets, staring at the driving door of the Iron Y. The silence stands quietly, like a silent guardian, reflecting the rising sun on the surface. He fell asleep last night, and the blue light repeatedly replayed the scene of the virtual snail group tearing through his brain. System, it really exists. Or is it a brain-filled illusion? But his fingers still had that strange sense of fusion, like the striking of the armor in synchronization with his heartbeat. Boy, don't be stupid. Enter the car. Chandler's voice exploded from behind, like a heavy blow on his shoulder. He was wearing a gray-blue instructor uniform, with a data tablet hanging around his waist, and his eyes were so sharp that he could cut the steel plate. High-pressure training starts with the basic energy gun. Yesterday's gun was air, and today I'm staring at myself to see if you can reappear. Sun Yu clicked his head and drove into the driving. The door was sealed with a click sound, and the helmet was buckled, and the world instantly cut into a virtual Star Wars scene. The simulated environment is a deserted slime belt, with gravel floating like rain, and the background is a low engine and storm. Chandler's voice came through the communication device. In the first stage, the target was shot calmly. The 10 floating targets in front were locked, and the energy output was controlled at 30%. Turn on fire. Sun Yu took a deep breath and touched the rod with his fingers. In the brain, the translucent interface reappeared. The fusion system is activated. Test the energy cannon module and unlock the primary aiming algorithm. Response speed plus 15%. Predictive jig function is online. A warm current spread through the nerve ends, his vision expanded, and the target's snail was like a pre-calculated curve, floating on the screen. With a light finger, the first energy cannon buzzing sound shot out, and the blue light penetrated the first target accurately. The explosion of sparks opened in the virtual space, accompanied by low-frequency vibrations and sent to his bone marrow. Fuck it well. But don't be relaxed, move the target on the second wheel. Chandler's language is so stern, and he likes it. The simulated scene accelerates, and the target begins to break out, like a group of cunning stone spirits. Sun Yu felt that the time had slowed down, and the system's algorithm was like an invisible assistant, predicting every flash avoidance. The muzzle revolved in 3 consecutive launches. The target exploded one by one, and the fragments were like smoke. Sweat slipped from behind his head, and the air inside the driving wheel became hot, but the corners of his mouth couldn't help but swell. This is not the energy, it is the power that awakens. The training lasted for 2 hours, and the advisor kept adjusting the difficulty, from calm to high-speed tracking. Sun Yu's score has been rising smoothly, and the system prompts are constantly, aiming accuracy plus 5%. Unlock the clamp and correct the submodule. Every time he shot, he even more attached to the joint armor, as if the iron number was no longer a dead object, but a living partner. Chanwa monitors data on the spot, and his eyebrows are relaxed. Your reaction speed has increased by 20%, but the energy control is still rough. Remember, the energy cannon is not a toy, and if it is a mistake, it can destroy the entire fleet. Sun Yu crawled out of the carriage. His legs were a little soft, but his eyes were bright. Instructor, thank you for your guidance. I feel, the armor is listening to me. He wiped the sweat from his head, and a warm feeling surged in his heart. Past failures come back like a dream, those mocks that have been swallowed up by the gang countless times, those ridicule sounds like thunder. But now, he sees the road to rise. I can't retreat anymore, I want to prove it to everyone, including myself. I put the head on it, and after passing a bottle of energy drinks, the ice-cold touch of the bottle made Sun Yu sober. Boy, you have talent, but the battle of the armor is not just talent, but tacit understanding. I was in the international realm, facing the alien fleet, and I lost half of the midfield with just one shot. Experience? I judge the enemy and integrate the senses. Your system, no matter what, let it become your extension. His words were like old wine, carrying the sang and the mellow, and Sun Yu was very impressed. At this moment, the distance between them was closer, and they were no longer instructors and students, but rather tacit understanding like teachers. Just as they were chatting, the police officer at the training ground suddenly lowered his head. The projection screen in the entire simulation area is undetermined, and the virtual stone belt begins to distort, like a picture that is attacked by a virus. The motor arm doors of other students automatically popped up, and a surprise came from it. What the hell? The scene collapsed. Janwa's face changed, the whole class stopped training. This is a bug in the simulated scene. The energy retrieval system is out of control, which may cause virtual backlash, neural impact. Sun Yu's brain suddenly burst out a warning, hidden bug in the test simulation field, the energy recurrence is abnormal. Forecast, the whole field collapses within 5 seconds, and the risk level is high. Repair options online. He was stunned for a moment, and without thinking much, he rushed towards the main console. That is the end of the floating data, with red codes on the screen chaotic, like a raging current. He danced with his fingers, and the system's algorithm was automatically injected, and the correction module extended to the scene repair. Stable redirection, reset the prediction line. After a few seconds, the alarm stopped and the projection stabilized. The collapsed stone belt returned to level, leaving only a slight buzzing wave. The whole class was stunned and Janwa patted Sun Yu's back. How did you do it? The simulation system of the college is top-level encryption. Sun Yu shook his head and thought to himself that this was the system's strength, but he said, "Play, instructor. I just remembered the data from the last training session." In fact, repair not only saved the scene, but also unexpectedly improved his bombing accuracy. System prompts, borrow bug repair, and the unlocking accuracy is micro-adjusted plus 10%. The students around him talked about private words, and someone clapped his hands. Sun Yu is so awesome. The students on the side saved the whole class. The initial respect was like a stream of gathering, which made him feel the heavy lifting on his shoulders. In the afternoon, the elimination competition was scheduled to open. The competition venue of the college was extremely popular, with the audience full of students, and the air was filled with the smell of sweat and the fragrance of popcorn. The projection screen broadcasts every game in the live broadcast. The sound of the energy cannon is amplified through the speaker, which makes the seats slightly sensational. This is a grand event in the campus. Those who win directly go through high-strength training, while those who fail are eliminated. Sun Yu's opponent is a guy named Li Ming. He has mediocre qualifications and operates standard machine armor steel claws, but he is famous in the basic group. When choosing a lottery, Li Ming glanced at Sun Yu and sneered, "Boy, yesterday's luck is over. Get ready to cry." Sun Yu didn't say anything back and boarded the number of iron waiting. The competition venue simulates a narrow island war scene, with rock walls standing, sand and wind, dust and soil flying in the field, touching like a real grain-shaped surface. The telegraph sounded the referee. The competition begins. The energy cannon is limited and destroys the shield protector's victory. Li Ming took the lead in action. The steel claw armor came like a tiger, the shoulder cannon was accumulating energy, and the red light flash was bulging. "Eat me!" he yelled, shot out a rough energy beam, and headed straight for Sun Yu. The system immediately responds, rock prediction, 7 degrees left, avoid the upper line of the road. Sun Yu pulled the rod lightly, the iron slipped to the side, the energy beam rubbed against the shield, sparked 4 times, and shocked to his teeth. He felt his heart beating faster, but it was as cold as ice. "It's my turn," Sun Yu said softly, his fingers locked. The aiming algorithm is fully opened, and Li Ming's stinging arm is predicting Li Ming's sprinting arm. The guy is accelerating the circle and trying to open the distance. The muzzle rotates and the blue light condenses. Predicted hit rate, 98%. The system sounds calm. He pulled the trigger and shot out. The blue light was like a flashing electric striking through the valley, directly hitting the side wings of the steel claws. The shield shattered like a glass blowing, and the fragments swirled in the wind and sand. Li Ming's armor stumbled, and the police masterpiece said, "The shield is broken." Sun Yu was defeated. The whole audience was in full swing, and the audience burst into shouting. Sun Yu walked out of the car, and his ears were filled with sounds. He saw the group of students who had laughed at him now with complex eyes, and some even gave thumbs up. This kid is really upgraded. Li Ming crawled out of the armor, his face turned blue, and murmured, "Impossible, why did you predict that the accuracy?" Sun Yu smiled and said, "Just practice." His heart was overwhelmed. Past failures are not the end, but fuel. Now, I want to burn more vigorously. Rise, start here. In the audience, Junjie hugged her arms and her eyes were sunken. Akai, the follower beside him, said in a low voice, "Boss, that Sun Yu is not simple. Is it so fierce to choose?" Junjie snorted coldly, "Genius. Humph, he is a variable. Next time, I will try his own pounds." His eyes locked Sun Yu like a laser, and the fire of competition was quietly ignited. Jianhua walked forward and patted Sun Yu on the shoulder. "Good work, boy. The teacher and the disciple have just achieved tacit understanding. Tomorrow, high-strength training will continue. The star threat will not wait for you. Are you ready to face a bigger stage?" Sun Yu pointed at the head and looked at the competition venue. The star projection flashed there with unknown challenges. Fengsha was still whispering in his ears, but he was no longer afraid. Number of words, 1268. The morning light is like fragments of the Silver River falling, and the intermediate training area of the United Machinery College is already busy. The pungent smell of high pressure and electricity is mixed with the burnt aroma of metal heat, which makes people's nasal cavity burn. Giant simulations are lined with many simulators, like rows of sleeping steel giant iron beasts, with complex battle data rolling on the projection screen. Sun Yu followed Jianhua. His pace was a little rapid, and he still recalled the remaining passion he had made last night. The victory was like a warm current, diluting the haze of the past, but he knew that this was just the starting point. Intermediate training makes the back of the spine flutter when you hear it. Multi-machine armor attack simulates the real chaos in the star-sided real world. "Boy, don't be distracted." Jianhua's voice was as thick as sandpaper. He stopped beside the iron number, and the data tablet flashed the blue light in his hand. "Your armor parameters need to be adjusted. The basic model is already weak, and yesterday's gun was extremely limited. Today, the intermediate simulation is upgraded to the energy gun distribution mode, but the loading risk is high. I will change it myself to increase heat dissipation and energy distribution." Sun Yu clicked his head, climbed into the driving wheel, and felt the vibration of the seats as familiar as a heartbeat. Jianhua's fingers danced on the tablet, a low buzz inside the wheel, and the mechanical armor's cord was slightly slight. "Instructor, will this be too risky?" Sun Yu asked. The sound was emitted through the communication device, which was a bit tight. Jianhua hummed, and his eyes looked at him through the window. "Adventure? There is no adventure in the international war scene, but only survival. I was patrolling the border that year, facing the alien gang, and the armor was isolated and helpless. My energy cannon was launched 5 times, destroying half of the gang's nest, but it almost burned my nerves. Remember, armor is not a weapon, it is your second skin. Fusion it, don't let it merge with you." Sun Yu was excited when he heard it, and the experience of Jianhua was like a vivid picture. In the dark space, the tides were like a dark tide, the blue light of the energy cannon tore through the night, and the explosion trembled the blood inside the pile. That's not a story, it's a bloody teaching. He held the skeleton tightly and felt a sense of determination in his heart. I can no longer rely on the system alone, I have to learn to take the initiative to control it. The door is sealed, and the virtual helmet is buckled, and the world is cut into an intermediate simulated war scene. A cracked planet surface, volcanic ash spreads, lava is produced from the cracks on the surface, and hot waves come to swallow charcoal and breathing. Start. Multi-machine attack mode. 3-stage enemy simulates mechanical armor, using horns to defend against the nest. Jianhua's voice sounded in the communication device, carrying a guide rhythm. The simulated scene came alive, and the 3 red enemy aircraft were drawn out from the fog. They were standard Crazy Wolf, with energy storage on the shoulder cannon and stomping on the rocks like thunder. The nesting module stands behind, like a moving sarcoma, dancing with hands, and launching small claws as cannon fodder. In Sun Yu's brain, the system interface pops up. check the intermediate war scene, and the energy cannon module is upgraded. Unlock the distribution mode, 3 releases per minute, and the load is protected online. Manipulate flow degree plus 30%. Fusion depth, intermediate. A warmth-like current spreads across the spine, his senses expand, and each duct of the armor seems to have become its own blood vessels. The enemy locked him, and the first one was Mad Wolf, and the red energy beam was whipped like a whip, rubbing the shield, sparking 4 times, shocking Sun Yuya to kill him. Come on! Sun Yu growled and danced with his fingers. The continuous mode is activated, the muzzle is buzzing, and the blue light condenses. The first shot was released and headed straight to the link of the leader of the Wild Wolf, the system prediction flash, but he did not rely entirely on it, recalling Jianhua's words in his brain, energy distribution, active prediction. He slightly adjusts the angle, avoids rock interference, and hits the blue light accurately. The Wild Wolf's legs exploded, and the debris fell like rain. It fell to the ground, and the warning was harsh. The second enemy was surrounded from the side wings, and the artillery fire was connected, and the lava was knocked up, making Sun Yu's virtual skin red. He felt sweat soaking his back, but his heart calmed down. It was not a bad shot, it was a rhythm. The system assists the turret, but he actively calculates the energy. The first one is to aim the engine, weaken the engine, the second one is to lock the turret and cut off the back. Rush! Rush! It burst into thunder, and the blue lights merged into a network. The second Mad Wolf disintegrated in the fire, smashing the bones into cracks, causing small volcanic spray. The students who were watching the scene sucked in a hurry, and the projection screen in the training room magnified Sun Yu's vision, and the blue light was as bright as a meteor shower. How did this basic armor become like this? Someone murmured. The third stage, the Mad Wolf, accelerated its attack, and accompanied by the help of the clam's touch, the clams were like bees scattered. Sun Yu's energy bar dropped to 60%, and he passed the warning flash, but he gritted his teeth. Now, fusion war. Tat lifted the armor and swept the lava river, using the terrain to slide, and the muzzle turned toward the core of the nest. The third round was launched. The artillery fire was like a rainstorm in a pot, and the blue light penetrated the touching hands and entered the center of the sarcoma. The nest exploded, and the green juice was filled with 4 saps, and the remains turned into smoke. The 3-stage enemy machine is fully installed, the simulated scene collapses, and the victory prompts the training room. Sun Yu took off his helmet and crawled out of the carriage with heavy breath. The training room was boiling, and the students came up, their eyes turning from suspicion to awe. Sun Yu, you single-shot 3 platforms? You've also destroyed the nest, a girl shouted, with a thunderous voice. Inside, he felt a change. The system is a tool, but the war is mine. From relying to initiative, this is the taste of growth, like breaking through the ground from tender seedlings and facing the sun. Jianhua strode forward and smiled rarely on his face, but he quickly put it away and patted Sun Yu on the shoulder. It's good, boy. The connection mode is used smoothly, but the energy distribution still needs to be refined. Come on, the teacher and the disciple are fighting, and I will teach you the skills. He climbed onto his instructor armor Thunder Guardian, an upgraded giant beast with a mark on the surface. Simulation restarted. This time it was the Yamagu chasing war. The armor of the China construction was as flexible as a ghost, and the artillery fire was exploring. Come on! Jianhua shouted. Sun Yu followed. The system provided data, but he actively adjusted. Energy distribution 70% attack, 30 fence. The blue light of Jianhua passed by, and the shock came. Prior my spiral. The starworms will not attack directly, they are like living mists. Sun Yu realized that he was alone in his heart. Yes, it is not a hard fight, it is wisdom. On their side, they used the anti-surge energy of the Sun Valley Wall to simulate a counterattack. Jianhua laughed. Okay. That's tacit understanding. That year, I fought against the leader of the fleet, distributed energy in one shot, and destroyed its shield core. Remember, mature warriors are not only strong, but also think. At the end of the battle, Sun Yu's score approached Jianhua, and he felt that his inner self was changing. He was no longer the fearful side student, but a warrior who could stand alone. I went off the machine and passed the data tablet. You grow fast, but don't be proud. There are shadows in the college, and those geniuses won't sit and watch. The voice fell, and the warning in the training room was low. Projection screen flash, an unauthorized simulated intrusion, steal mode. The 3-stage-shaped simulated motor appears from the fog and directly snatches Sun Yu's iron number. Their tag displays Junji's ID. What? This is. Sun Yu widened his eyes, and the system warned, check out abnormal invasion, the enemies will be locked. Counterattack mode starts. The students were shocked and Jian's face was erratic. Junji. How dare you do small moves in the training room? Junji stood up from the mother's seat and sneered, instructor, it's just a friendly challenge. Isn't Sun Yu quite fierce? Let me see how big he is. His follower Akai laughed, but his eyes were flickering and uneasy. Sun Yu didn't say anything, so he drove back the driving. The stealth machine armor encircles, and the obscurity effect makes them look like ghosts in cannon fire raids. Sun Yu's development mode is fully opened, but this time he actively integrates, predict the invasion path, use the data of the training room to react at the end, and lock the source. The first blue light tear opens the hidden shape and hits the head of the head. It's exposed, he shouted. The second and third waves were like rain, destroying the 2 platforms, and the third wave tried to escape, but his energy distribution was accurate, and he closed the road in one shot, and killed him. The invasion simulation collapsed, Junji's ID was recorded by the system, and the large characters on the projection screen flashed. Invasion by violation, Sun Yu successfully committed a counterattack. The training room was frying. The student's side of the subject said in a private voice, Junjong stealing? Was he still killed by the slot? The girls looked at him admiringly, and someone clapped his hands. Sun Yu, don't explode. Junjong's face turned pale and his fists tightly said, this, a system bug. But Janwa walked forward and said in a cold voice, boy, the college rules are not a tragedy. Sun Yu, he was fucked well. This is a preliminary facial blow, but the real conflict is behind. Sun Yu walked out of the carriage and looked straight at Junjia, with a calm and clear look, genius. Come openly next time. Stealing a sword will only make you weaker. In his heart, he felt confident as a rock. From a weak chicken to this point, it is not about luck, but about electricity. The rise of the tide has already begun. The sun sets westward, and the lights in the training room light up, indicating that a more intense storm is about to come. Sun Yu looked out of the window and clamped his fists tightly. The intermediate level was just the beginning, the international competition was waiting for me. Number of words, 1248. The internal rankings of the Federal Institute of Machinery were like a giant awakening beast. The lights were as dazzling as the star storm, and the air was filled with the burning smell of high-pressure electricity, mixed with the students' stinking sweat. The projection screen circles the entire competitive area, reaching 50 meters high, and displays real-time ranking data like a ruthless electronic eye to examine every participant. Sun Yu stood in the pre-order area. The door of the iron number 1 was half open, his fingers gently masturbating the rod, feeling the familiar sense of fusion swelling in his body. Last night's retaliation left him sleepless all night, not fear, but excited. Junjia's stealing sprinkles were like fire, igniting his inner fighting spirit. But he knew that the ranking competition was not a challenge, it was the test of the college, and it was decided who could go directly to the international competition. Sun Yu, are you ready? Jian's voice came from the communication device. As the referee of this wheel, he stood on the platform, and his gray-blue uniform reflected cold light under the light. Sun Yu pointed his head and drove in and drove, instructor, fight at any time. Jian's mouth slightly raised, remember, in the middle-level team battle, single guns can't be used. The team tacit understanding is the key. You and your team, those 2 selected edge students, don't drag the back legs. Sun Yu thought of his teammates. Little fat Amin, who operates anti-arm armor, is as stable as a rock, and the flexible girl Xiaowei, who is good at long-term detection and shooting. Their 3 are a temporary alliance of side-by-side students. In the past, they have been trampled by geniuses, but now, Sun Yu's rise has allowed them to see hope. The door is sealed, and the virtual helmet is buckled, and the world is switched into a group war simulation scene. A broken space station sank, floating debris blocking the visual line like a maze. In the background is the resonance of the low space style and metal collision. The opponent is the middle-level Academic Alliance, with a 4-person team. The leader is Xiao Xiao, a powerful guy who drives fist armor and carries heavy cannons on his shoulders, ranking in the top 10 in the middle level. In the communication device, Amin's tight voice sounded, "Brother Sun, they are very tight, how can we break it? They have 2 firepower hands." Xiao Wei added, "The detective shows that their team is driving the energy cannons to be launched, and they can level our defense lines as soon as they are launched." Sun Yu took a deep breath, and the system interface in the brain was flashed. Check the team's war environment, high-energy gun module unblocked. The energy output doubles, and the impulse wave can disintegrate the mass shape. Fusion depth, high level. Warning, overload risk plus 50%. A heat wave blew over the nerves, his vision expanded, and the position of the teammate's armor appeared like a blue spot. "Don't panic," Sun Yu said in the communication, his voice as steady as an experienced teacher. Aiming stays on top of the defense. Xiao Wei stumbles on the back. "I'm the main attacker. Remember the words of the instructor Jianhua, tacit understanding is not an order, but a straightforward view." The teammates responded and warmed up in their hearts. Sun Yu was no longer a lonely wolf, he began to learn to attract people's hearts. As the competition begins, the alliance between the other side is coming like a tide. The 4-stage armor was in a diamond-shaped shape, and the Zhao was in the middle. The artillery fire was shot out probably. The red energy beam broke through the bone area, and the debris were 4 times, which shocked Sun Yu's driving wheels slightly. "Enter!" Zhao's roar came through the public channel, and his followers followed, and the firepower network was secretly distributed like a spider. Amin's defense armor was on the front end, protecting the shield and absorbing the first wave of attacks, but the energy bar dropped rapidly. "Brother Sun, I can't hold it anymore." Xiao Wei's detective aircraft was flexibly avoided, but was hit on the side, and the armor sparked. Sun Yu felt stimulating and storming, just directly. But he gritted his teeth and suppressed it, and his heart was as white as a flash. "You can't be reckless, the team is watching." The system assists the carriage, and he opened the high-energy cannon. The muzzle was buzzing, and the blue light condensed into the swell. "Xiao Wei, mark their weakness." Xiao Wei responded. The leader's connection was exposed, and the right wing of the right wing was loose. Sun Yu danced with his fingers, and the first shot was shot. It is not direct shot, but a swipe. The blue wave pattern is like a knife swiping, accurately cutting into the right wing of the other side-shaped plane. The armor shields of the 2 firepower hands shattered, like glass exploding in space, and the debris hit the bones, causing a crisp repercussion. They stumbled back, their shapes disintegrated in an instant, and Zhao's roar was filled with anger. "Disperse! Don't let that boy succeed." The whole audience was filled with motorcycle sank, and the projection screen amplified Sun Yu's gunning bolt. The students were amazed. "Basic armor? Shocking? What kind of monster is this?" Sun Yu's energy output doubled, making the Iron One more wings, but he felt the temperature inside the truck rise, and the system warns, when passing through the boundary, the energy path is hot. The rush made him want to chase him, but the crisis came during the second wave of energy storage. The barrel was too hot, the blue light was out of control, and the armored drama was violently shocked, as if it was about to explode. Sun Yu's vision was blurry and sweated like rain. "Do you die?" He panicked in his heart. "This force is too wild, and I almost destroyed my teammates." At this moment, he forced himself to calm down. It was not brute force, it was adjustment. In the system interface, he actively switches to the self-tuning mode, and his fingers have a micro-tuning energy distribution: 80% output and 20% dissipation. The swelling wave stabilized and the 3rd generation of accumulation. "Amin, cover the left wing." "Xiao Wei, control it." The teammates cooperated tacitly. Amin's shield blocked Zhao's attack, and Xiao Wei's shot forced her to retreat to the side wing. Sun Yu locked his team, and his heart changed like a blend of ice and fire, from the slamming flame to the cold steel. This is not luck, it is growth. Learning control is the way of king. One shot, it's over. Sun Yu said softly. The high-energy cannon was fully opened, and the blue light came out like a huge wave, heading straight for the boxing armor of Zhao. Zhao just tried to avoid the picture, but the shape was already inappropriate. The energy beam rubbed over his shield, and the waves ripped the link, and the waves were broken. The core of the team's armor exploded, and the fire illuminated the entire slaughter area. The opponent's alliance collapsed, and the remaining armored weapons closed the white flag. The winning tips are on the competition field. Sun Yu team wins. Team score, 92 points, refresh the intermediate record. Sun Yu took off his helmet and climbed out of the carriage. His legs were a little soft, but his eyes were clear. When the teammates came up, Amin patted him on the shoulder. Brother Sun, your shot is amazing. We think we want to escape. Xiaowei smiled and said, the team feels so good. In the past, they always fought each other. Sun Yu held their hands. It's not me, it's us. Instructor Janwa said it right, and he fought with a single fight. Inside, he felt that the change, the loneliness in the past was like a scattered bone, and now he has a partner. This is a real rise. On the high platform, Janwa's voice was sent through the sound expansion device. Sun Yu, it's very hard. From the edge to the middle-level king, your progress is obvious to all. Energy control from extensive to precise is the change of warriors. The whole audience was filled with thunder. The students sighed, and even some geniuses came to pay tribute. Janwa went downstairs and privately grabbed Sun Yu. Boy, team fighting skills need to be adjusted. Come on, I will teach you the distribution of styles. Defense is the basis and firepower is the blade. In the Star Wars, single-person heroes are the saying, and teams are eternal. Sun Yu pointed at the head, and his heart was warm. Janwa is not only an instructor, but also a guide. But in the joy, the shadow quietly emerged. After the game, Sun Yu checked the data tablet in the rest area and accidentally found an abnormality. His ranking jumped too fast, and there were unknown modification marks in the system records. The backstage code of the projection screen is flashed to a hidden ID, Junjia's tag. Do you do something? Sun Yu murmured, his heart sank. He recalled the incident of stealing and became alert. This is not a simple competition, it is a rude. He couldn't make a sound, so he privately called the systems analysis module, scanned the in-house network, and collected sporadic evidence. The energy readings of several competitions were tampered with, and the scores of middle-level students were reduced, which made the handsome circles break the front row. Sun Yu found Janwa, and the two were in the shadows on the training ground. Instructor, look at this. He passed the tablet and the data opened. Janwa's eyebrows were tightly locked, his eyes were like a knife. June. There is indeed a ghost. That year, I saw similar tricks. There were data from hackers in the black market in the border area. But the evidence was not complete, and the high-level college level would not be trusted. Sun Yu clenched his fists and said, I will continue to dig. I can't let him lose fairness. Janwa pointed, okay, we will join hands. First reveal a small part such as the abnormal data in your game, so that he can reveal his bags. Be careful, he will not be good at silence. At the evening's fun ceremony, Junjia walked over with a drink, smiling and said, Sun Yu, congratulations. The middle-level team is a king, it's awesome. Let's communicate more in the future. His eyes were like a poisonous snake, sweeping over Sun Yu's tablet. Sun Yu smiled faintly, thank you, Junjiang. The ranking data is really accurate. I didn't expect that some people would still help to adjust it. There was a thorn in the conversation. Junjiang's face changed slightly, but he quickly covered up, haha, joking. Looking forward to the next time I will decide. He turned away, and his follower Akai said in a low voice, Boss, is that boy suspicious? Junjiang snorted coldly, suspicious? Let him check. In the second half of the ranking game, I will crush him. Sun Yu looked at his back and felt cold in silence. His enemies have deepened, but I am ready. System prompt flash, check the cable and unblock the data protection module. He felt more power, and the team's lofty hair was like a shield. The nitrazine in the ranking competition has not yet dispersed, and the greater storm is coming from the shadows. The lights in the competition are dimming, and the star projection flashes against unknown challenges. Sun Yu clenched his fist, the evidence was in his hand, and the reverse began. The high-strength training of the United Machinery at college was like an imminent star storm, finally opening the curtain. The early morning training area is covered in a thin fog, and the air is filled with the high-pressure electromagnetic buzz and the preheated burnt smell of metal, making people feel that every breath is like swallowing electricity. Sun Yu carried a data backpack and followed Janhua, stepping on the reinforced alloy floor, making a crisp reversal. Last night's investigation left him unable to sleep well overnight, and the evidence on the tablet was like a hidden detonator, but he knew that it was not the time to dig deep. High-strength operation is the killer of the college. Only the top 20 students are qualified to participate. The tickets to the international competition are hidden inside. Boy, let go of your sarcasm first. Janhua said in a low voice, walking around and sweeping around the students. When they came out of the rest area, Junjia's shadow was still shaking in Sun Yu's brain, but Janhua's eyes were like iron, training without mercy, a mistake. The backlash of nerves can make you lie down for half a year. Be dedicated and prove that your energy cannon is not a fancy. Sun Yu pointed his head and clenched his fists. I understand, instructor. I won't disappoint you. A warm feeling surged in his heart, and the words of Janhua were like the inheritance of a veteran, making him feel no longer alone. Teammates Amin and Xiaowei also followed. Amin gasped, "Brother Sun, the simulation here is said to be a real resurgence of the international battle. What is the sturdy slap in the nest fort? It's soft when you hear it." Xiaowei patted his shoulder. With Sun, the team is stable. The tacit understanding of the last team battle continues to be maintained. The entrance to the training camp is a giant dome, and once the door opens, it comes with a hot wave. Inside is an expanded simulation area, with dozens of upgraded motor armor arranged in a row, and the projection screen is flashed with the battle file, the invasion of the zombies on the border planet, and the collapse of the fortress defense line. Janhua led the team to the main control room, and the sound was transmitted through the sound expansion device to the whole scene. High-strength operation, the first stage, extreme castle attack and defense. Simulated star warfare, human castle warfare against the maternal nest of the zombie. Energy artillery strategy use, not a bad move, but a precise pit core. Sun Yu, you go first, the iron one will pick the castle warfare one. Remember, strategy is not a firepower, but a predicted energy flow. Sun Yu entered the driving force, the door clicked and the helmet was buckled, and the world instantly turned into a bloody battle. The cracked planetary surface, the fortress was like a steel mountain, the surface was covered with turrets, and the energy shield was flashing with blue light. The mother nest of the Zodiac tribe moves deep in the fortress, with hands dancing like whips, and small Zodiac triacs are released. The air was filled with low geese and sour-scented scents, which was so realistic that Sun Yu's stomach tightened. The artillery fire began, the fortress turret was rushing, and the red energy beam was like a rain basin, which was shattering the fog and squeezing his armor. When the vibration came, the first time I rubbed the shield and sparked 4 times, Sun Yu felt that his bones were all in the pit. Don't die, this firepower. Sun Yu murmured, dancing with his fingers to avoid it. System interface pops up, check high-strength environment and integrate anti-module activation. The armor has a durability of plus 50%, and it is automatically powered by the upper line. Fusion depth, extreme. Icy energy flowed through the nerves, and the shield of the iron number 1 was as thick as the second layer of skin. He pulled the lever, slipped the side of the armor, avoiding the second wave of artillery fire, and the debris hit the surface, shattering soil like a sandstorm. My heart was terrified like a tide. This is not a planned game, it is a real simulation of death, and a backlash from all my nerves. Janhua's voice exploded in the communication device. Sun Yu, don't hide. The pressure test begins. Facing the cannon fire, predict the storm, and use the energy cannon to counter the core. During the International War, I once rushed into the nest with a single shot. The energy cannon is not a weapon, but a key. Burning the energy core, the fortress will be destroyed by itself. His words woke Sun Yu up, and the past failures flashed in his brain. Those nights when they were swallowed by the stolen group, inferiority complex was like a shackle. But now, he gritted his teeth. I can't retreat, I want to break through. With fingers locked, the system helps the tray predict the appearance, and the core of the tray like a red point moves deep. The artillery fire was even more fierce, and the third wave came like a net cover. Sun Yu's armor was hit, and the shield was flashed, and the durability strip was reduced to 70%. The evil spirit of the heart is bleak, his vision is blurred, but he takes a deep breath, and his heart is as simple as a flash. I am afraid that he is an enemy, control it. The anti-canceling module is fully opened, the energy barrier is opened and the machine is stable. He fought back, the energy cannon was accumulating energy, and the blue light condensed like a star. Predict, the core is exposed. Sun Yu shouted and his fingers were pulled. The blue light tore the cannon fire, straightened the outer wall of the castle, penetrated the energy core. Rush! The fortress was shaken, the shield collapsed like glass shattered, the mother nest touched the trouble, and the defense line collapsed in an instant. The explosion of fire illuminates the entire battleground, and the zombies turn into smoke, the simulation ends, and the victory prompts the top of the dome. All the students were stunned, and the projection screen enlarged Sun Yu's spine, and the blue light was as bright as a magical spine. Basic machine armor. Is it a crashing castle? Someone shouted. Sun Yu crawled out of the road, his legs were soft but his eyes were firm. Jianhua walked up and patted him on the shoulder. Boy, you're pretty fucked. From fear to control, this is the breakthrough of the inner demon. Remember the strategy? Energy cannon is not a destruction, it's a surgery. Sun Yu panted, Instructor, your pressure test almost scared me. But now, I feel that the armor is mine. The master and the disciple had a deeper understanding. Jianhua pointed, good. Team relay, aiming Xiaowei, get on. The training continued, Amin and Xiaowei's team followed, Sun Yu was watching, and his inner heart was changing like a tide. Overcoming the inner demon is not overnight, but at this moment of persistence. The focus of the operation turned to him, and the surrounding students cast admirable eyes, and even some midstream geniuses said, Sun Yu, this kid, has risen. But the silence didn't last long. Junjie suddenly appeared. He joined the second half of the training and drove his top armor shadow blade with a flash-shaped mattress on the surface. There was a little more tightness in the air. He approached Sun Yu and smiled at the corner of his mouth. Yi, Sun Yu, that cannon is just good. But the castle model is too simple. I'll challenge you, single pick mode, energy cannon is unlimited. His follower Akai smiled, but his eyes were hiding. Jianhua Narumiai, Jun, the team is the first priority in terms of operation. Don't do small moves. Junjie said, Instructor, just have a fight. Is Sun Yu not a king? Sun Yu looked at him directly, feeling the other party's eyes as hidden swords. Come on. But remember, it's open and upright. The simulation restarted, this time it was the battle between Yaku. Junjia's shadow blade was shaped and the artillery fire suddenly swelled. Sun Yu's defense module defeated the first wave, but Junjie fired 3 shots, forcing him to retreat. At the audience, the students agreed, Jun is going to crush it. Sun Yu was evasive and calm inside, his weakness was that he was too dependent on the situation and was predicted to be exposed. System scan, check for manual data, hidden time motor -20%. He counterattacked, blocked the road with 1 shot, and forced the shadow blade to appear. Junjie curse, do you die? He continued to challenge 2 rounds. After he tried to draw pictures, Sun Yu's energy cannon strategy was used, not direct shooting, but a pre-reported rotation. The blue light brushed the link, causing the shadow blade's energy to descend wildly. The third round, the male friend is incorrect, the obscurity is ineffective, and the weakness is exposed, the barrel is too hot and cannot be connected. Sun Yu shot and hit the shield with a bullet. Junjie's armor stumbled and failed. He crawled out of the carriage and his face turned blue. "You are so arrogant." There was a lot of laughter during the operation, and Amin shouted, "Brother Sun, awesome." Junjia's obscene bullshit is not. Xiaowei replenished her knife. "The weakness is exposed, and the genius will turn over." Junjia glared, but Janwa intervened. "It's too late, Junjia. Your challenge failed, and you have some strategy." Soon you didn't chase him, but just smiled faintly. "Come next time, don't hide it." This face was refreshing. Junjia's arrogance was like a ball of air, fighting the upgrade. When he turned away, his eyes were poisonous. Just when Sun Yu was relaxing his breath, the system warned him to flash, check external interference in the phenomenon of online entrance in the college. Source, Junjia ID. Risk, simulate data tampering, sticking your defense module. Sun Yu's heart sank, quickly switched to the end of the data, and danced with his fingers. Janwa saw the strange thing. "What's wrong?" Sun Yu said in a low voice, "Instructor, Junjia is making trouble. He is involved in the system and wants to ruin my armor. The code behind the projection screen is chaotic, and the energy reading is changed, but the system's protection module backfires and tracks the source head in reverse. Sun Yu injection algorithm, counter the line." In a few seconds, the intrusion collapsed. Junjia's final warning masterpiece, full projection flash, virus detection of the intrusion, Junjia ID locked. Certificate is uploaded to the high-level college. The whole scene was unpredictable, and the students pointed at the point. "Jun is here again? This time I fell." Jun's face was as white as paper, and the follower Akai stepped back. "Boss, this." Janwa sneered, "Boss, this is digging a tomb by himself." "Sun Yu, the counter is beautiful." Sun Yu stood up straight, and felt a sense of accomplishment in his heart. From the victim to the counter, this is the peak of the transformation. Junjia was taken away by the security guard and Jay glared at him fiercely. "This is not over." But Sun Yu replied calmly, "The evidence is in hand, and the game is over. The training lights are on, and the waves are still circulating." Sun Yu looked at his teammates in Janhua, and felt that the relationship was as solid as steel. The team's trust, the guidance of his disciples, the shadow of his opponent, everything pushed him forward. The high-strength nitrazine has not dissipated, and the larger battle is rising from the star map. Terms, 1246. The international exchange venue of the United Machinery and a college is like a star explosion about to explode. The lights are as dazzling as the energy cannon, and the air is filled with the smell of sweat and the spicy oil. The projection screen circles the entire venue, reaching 100 meters high, and displays the ranking data of each school, like a ruthless war declaration. Sun Yu stood in the pre-order area, and the Iron Wave number 1 has been upgraded to a special type of Iron Wave fusion, with a blue energy line engraved on the surface, and the buzzing sound is as deep as a heartbeat. In the past 2 days of Junjia's intrusion incident, although the high-level pressure has been under pressure, the private language in the college is still continuing. Sun Yu felt that there was a layer of responsibility on his shoulders. He was no longer a side boy who fought alone. He had to lead a team to prove the honor of the college. "Boy, I'm using this special machine armor to adjust it." Janwa walked over and passed the data tablet, his eyes as sharp as an old wolf. He patted the iron infusion door, and his strength was so heavy that it was harsh. The energy cannon module has been upgraded to its peak, and it has been released without overloading. The fusion depth locks your nerve reaction. I have poured all the tricks of the Star Edge. But remember, it is not the hardware, it is you who drive it. Sun Yu connected the tablet, his fingers slid over the data curve, and a warm current surged in his heart. Past training is like a recurrence of old dreams, from clumsy basic gunshots to high-strength bank crashes. He is no longer the fearful student. "Instructor, thank you. I have practiced your strategic experience these 2 days. Energy distribution is not even, but dynamic prediction. For example, the last time I counterattacked, I used the system to assist, but actively switched the road, saving 20% of the energy. The team also found out tacit understanding. Amin was safe and stable, Xiaowei was surveillance of the spirit, I was in charge of firepower, and the shape was like an iron triangle. he said. His voice was steady, and there was a look of a silk team leader in his eyes. Janwa heard a little, and rarely saw the corner of his mouth. It's good, from a single gun to a leader team, this transition is fast. But the preheat of the exchange game is hot, and geniuses from other schools are not these little kids in the college. Strategy discussion. The opponent's main force is the Star Alliance, the 5-machine team. The leader is named Rick, the top 3 in the foreign schools, and the energy cannon is specialized in group attacks. Don't fight hard, surround the side wings, and snare their firepower network. Sun Yu clenched his fist and said, I understand. The team is the first, I will not be a hero again. I passed by alone. In the past, I just wanted to prove myself, and now I have to snatch my waist for everyone. This growth is like a motor armor from iron shell to flesh and blood. Amin and Xiaowei walked over, and Amin wiped his sweat. Sun team, are you tight? The helper from the other school heard the murder. Xiaowei smiled, with the Sun team here, you can win. Sun Yu patted their shoulders, follow the tight style, the first win in the preheated game, we will win. The exchange competition was prematurely opened, and the audience was filled with the audience and the voices were heard. The simulated scene is switched to a virtual quarry war scene, with gravel floating like a maze, and the background is filled with sparks of deep space wind and electric galvanizing. The opponent's 5-machine team appeared, and the leader of Rick drove the Thorn armor, with shoulder cannons accumulating energy, and the red light flash was like poisonous fangs. Federal College? I heard that a side boy has risen. Come on, let's see. Rick's voice came through public channels, with a proud ridicule. His team was in a stubborn shape, with firepower in the center, and observing the wings on the side. Sun Yu's team entered the venue with 3 planes, the iron fusion was in the middle, Amin defended the back, and Xiaowei investigated the front. In the communication device, Sun Yu ordered, Xiaowei, explore the path and mark the weakness. Amin, the shield is open and the first wave is staying. I lock the main force. The teammates responded, and in his heart he felt that the tacit understanding was like an invisible chain link, and he hugged them together. As the competition began, the opponent's firepower network caught fire, and red energy beams sucked like whip rain, and the stone fragments were shattered, shaking the Sun Yu's bone marrow. Amin's shield flashed, hitting the side, but the energy bar dropped to 80%. Sun team, their group attacks are too fierce. Xiaowei replied in a flash, the core of the main thorn is exposed, but it has 2 wings to protect it. Sun Yu took a deep breath and the brain system was fully opened, overall mode is activated. The peak output of the energy cannon, 500%, the locking algorithm is online. Predict group attack tills, fusion depth, peak. A craziness like current rushes through the nerves, the iron fusion muzzle buzzes, and the blue light condenses like a sign of a star explosion. His vision expands, each stone's spine floats like a blue line, his fingers lightly wields the rod, and his armor is like an arm to use his fingers. Now, he shouted, and the first energy cannon shot out. The blue light tore the stone belt and headed straight for the opponent's firepower group, not a foul, but a precise shooting and passing through the 2-wing aircraft. Rush! The first machine exploded, and the debris were like smoke. The second machine's shield shattered and retreated. Rick's roar sounded, scattered. What kind of ghost cannon is this guy? The whole field was breathing in a rush, and the projection screen enlarged the blue light. The audience burst into screaming, Sun Yu! I'll kill you in one go! Sun Yu didn't stop, and his heart was as cold as ice. The team was on the top, and I came to turn back. The second energy generation is faster, and the system predicts Rex rotation. He slightly adjusts the angle to avoid the interference of the stone. The blue light is like a flash. The second hit. The engine that hit the thorns, the flames swept through the sky, the lake armor drama shook, and the firepower network instantly moved. Amin took advantage of the opportunity to push forward, and the shield blasted a gun, and Xiaowei shot and controlled the remaining 2 aircraft. Sun team, it's amazing! Xiaowei shouted excitedly. The third time, the peak is coming. The remaining main players tried to combine the map, and Lake was approaching with red light, but Sun Yu's overcontrol mode slowed down. He felt that the armor was his own extension, and the energy cannon was like a heartwarming movement. "It's over," he whispered in his heart and held his fingers down. The third blue light was fully opened, and the power reached the peak, like a huge wave swept the stone belt, crushing the core of Rick's thorns. In the last two machines, the shield collapsed, the explosion locked, and the Star Alliance was fully destroyed. The simulation collapsed, and the big letter flashed: the United Academy of Sciences won the game. Sun Yu's team won the first victory, with an energy cannon efficiency of 99%. The scene was boiling, and the sound of thunder was heard. The students stood up and applauded. "Sun Yu, King!" The edges were reversed. The audience of the school outside the school was silent. Rick crawled out of the car, his face turned blue. "Impossible. What about the basic machine armor?" Sun Yu took the team off, and Amin and Xiaowei hugged him. "Sun Yu team, we win. Your 3-link is here." Sun Yu smiled and hugged. "The team is good. From this point of fighting, I learned to lead the leader. It's not an order, it's trust." The inner soul changed like a tide, the lonely smoke from the past disappeared, and now, he is a reliable team leader, with a lofty shoulders. Janwa walked down from the high platform with a full look of praise. "Boy, the strategy is used well. The peak of the super control mode, but you didn't rely on it. It all depends on tacit leadership. The first premier in the exchange game, and the ranking of the college is stable." Sun Yu wiped his sweat. "Instructor, your upgraded armor rescue." Reply to the experience: under overcontrol, energy cannons are not weapons, but sticks leading the team to disintegrate the enemy. In the next stage of the game, will we practice the shape change? Just as they were discussing, the system warned flash: check abnormal signals, intrusion of external cardiac channels. Source: Junjia ID partner Rick. Default trap simulates the field energy redirection and implants virus, and super control mode for your power, and force overload. Risk: instant collapse. Alarm resolves the upper line. Sun Yu's heart sank. Although Junjia was warned, he actually joined hands with a foreign school. The end of the platform after the platform is flashing red light, and the energy reading is abnormally rising. Rick's follower was sneaking close to the main console and entering the code with the tablet in his hand. "Instructor, look." Sun Yu said softly, grabbed Janwa and pointed at the projection platform. The system automatically injects the protection algorithm, and he dances with his fingers at the end of the moment. Reverse, lock the source. In a few seconds, the virus collapsed, and the invading rail was exposed in reverse. The large word flash of the projection screen: verification contact manual test, Junjia ID and other school Rick, implanted with the virus. Certify the high level of the Alliance. The whole audience was disgusted, and the audience exploded. Jun is making a fool again? Joining with a foreign school? Rek's face turned pale. Jun came out of the seat of the college and tried to slip away, but the security guard stopped. "This, a mistake." Sun Yu stood up and looked at Rick and Junjia directly, his voice calmly, and he responded to the scene. "Missing? The evidence is here. Junjia, do you think that being involved can destroy me over control? Joining with foreign schools, it is also evidence that you are weak. The Federal Institute of Foreign Studies is not afraid of being rude, but afraid that it is not worthy of the opponent." Rick lowered his head. "We are just competing." But Junjia glared. "Sun Yu, you wait. The real chapter of the big game." The security guard took them away, and some of the evidence was exposed. Junjia's chat record, showing that he asked number 1 to change the trap. The high-level statement was released. Junjia was banned and the team deducted points. Teammates and students, Amin shouted, "Sun team, it's awesome. It's awesome to hit the face." Xiaowei hugged her arms. "The allies are stable, and the team is a hero." Janwa patted Sun Yu's shoulders. "Boy, this turn is your growth, not only fighting, but also defending against shadows. Allies are solid, and the game is imminent. We are practicing special styles." Sun Yu pointed at the head, and his heart was determined. From a weak chicken to this, he went back halfway. The star map of the school competition is flashing with even more intense light. The shouts of the square stopped and night fell, but Sun Yu's flames burned even more vigorously. A larger battle rose quietly from the preheated heat. Terms, 1242. The central competition venue of the United Machinery A Academy is like a dynamic star core. The light is as dazzling as energy explosion, and the air is filled with the pungent smell of electricity and the suppressed breath of students. The projection screen circles the entire venue, and the high-sounding clouds are in full swing, showing the competition course. The international competition officially begins, and comes from the elite cloud collection of more than a dozen top colleges. This is the annual event of the Star Alliance. The winners not only win the championship, but also can directly access the real-world team. Sun Yu stood in the pre-order area. The iron fusion driving door was half open, his fingers slapped the cannon barrel, and he felt the blue energy line jumping like a lively beating. The preheated game is still burning in the body. Although Junjia's slander has been exposed, he has been tall out by a high-level big deal. After the ban, he forced himself to join Sun Yu's expanded team as a cooperation for defeating. This news was like a joke, which made Sun Yu sleepless last night. "Boy, don't be distracted." Jianhua's voice exploded from the side. He leaned against the end of the data. His gray-blue uniform was covered in oil, and his eyes were like a laser-scanning projection screen. The first-round opponent is the Iron Blood Alliance, from the neighboring academy, a 5-machine team, specializing in chasing and fighting. The leader cars knock energy cannon locks 95%. They are shaped like wolves, and they bite their back legs. Your over-control mode is strong, but don't waste energy. The big game is a marathon, not a sprint. Sun Yu pointed his head, took a deep breath, and a tight feeling surged in his heart. "Instructor, I understand. I have learned to lead the preheat competition, but this time, will Junjia drag his back legs?" Jianhua snorted and patted his shoulder. The force was as heavy as a slam of the armor. He was forced to cooperate, and internal friction is certain. But use real force to press him and make him close his mouth. Remember, the team is not a charity hall. Your growth is the key. From the side to this, don't let the shadows be destroyed. Junjia walked from the shadow. His face was blue, and the top armor shadow blade followed behind him, like a ruthless tail. His follower Akai has been isolated, and this time he has to be single in one. Junjia glanced at Sun Yu, and the corners of his mouth twitched. "Humph, I heard you on the head. But don't expect me to be cannon fodder. Carl's helping wild dogs in the edge. I'm familiar with them. After they fell in love, the energy cannon chased like a dog's skin cream." His words were sour, and there was unwillingness in his eyes, as if he had swallowed bitter fruit. Sun Yu looked at him directly, and his voice was calm. "Cooperation is cooperation, and you can come here for a few words. Your shadow blade is invisible and useful. Listen to the point, and don't be bad." Ming and Xiao Wei exchanged their eyes beside him, and Ming muttered in a low voice, "Sun team, this wolf has entered the sheep pen." Xiao Wei replenished his knife. "Don't say it, just speak hard." The team's atmosphere was like a tight steel, rubbing the sparks, but Sun Yu felt that this was an exam. The leader was not only a fight, but also had to melt the enemy. The referee's voice competition venue, the first round, the Federal Academy of Sciences versus the Iron Blood Alliance. Simulation scene, the broken Star Wars field. Start. The door is sealed, the helmet is buckled, and the world is transformed into a chaotic space skeleton area. Floating ship fragments are like mazes blocking the visual line, and the background is a low vacuum wind in a metal tear-up resonance. Sun Yu's iron fusion is in the center, Amin guards the back, Xiao Wei detects the side wings, and Junjia's shadow blade is invisible and dives in the back row. The opponent's 5 Iron Blood Alliance machines were shot out, and Car's head was accumulating energy with a red energy cannon, and his stature was like an arrow stabbing straight. "The wolf pack is here." Car's roar came through the public channel. His armor accelerated and the artillery fire was shot out. The red light plot broke through the bones, and the 4 pieces of debris shocked Sun Yu's driving buzzing. Amin's shield held the first wave, but the energy bar dropped to 85%. "Sun team, they are behind." Xiao Wei shouted in a flash. Both side wings encircle. Car goes straight to the main force. Junjia's voice sounded in the communication device, carrying unwillingness. I'll bite their tails invisibly, but you have to keep the firepower on your back. Sun Yu dances with his fingers, the super control mode is activated, and his vision expands like a horned eye. Aiming is stable. Xiao Wei marks weakness. Junjia controls the right wing. I lock Carl. The brain system pops up. Check the chase environment. Energy cannon module unlocks. Track the cannon. The bullet automatically corrects. Locks the escape target. Hit rate plus 40%. Fusion depth. A heat wave blew over the nerves. The gun barrel was buzzing up, and the blue light condensed and led the tail, like a living dog. The other party was fierce in shape, and Carl's horn fired 3 shots in succession. The red light approached Sun Yu, wiped the shield and sparked 4 times, and shocked to his teeth. He slips and avoids his side, and his heart is cold. You can't fight hard, chasing is the key. Try this. Sun Yu growled and shot out the first tracking gun. The blue light shone out like a comet, automatically swaying the skeleton, traversing the dead body, chasing a side-winged enemy. The armor tried to escape, the engine was sprayed, but the cannon was like a shadow, locking the core of the snail. The explosion of fire illuminates the star ring, the debris are like rain, and the other party is slightly ill. Carl's spell, scatter. There's a ghost in this cannon. His turtle accelerated and retreated, trying to draw the distance, and the remaining 4 aircraft followed, and broke into zero and fled to the depths of the mystery. The audience members sucked in a slight breath, and the projection screen enlarged the tracking path of the blue light. The students screamed, catching cannon? Sun Yu has crushed it. Sun Yu did not relax and ordered in the communication device, Jun Zhong, block the road invisible. Xiao Wei followed the mark, Amin covered it. Jun Zhong hummed, but the shadow blade was knocked out, and the hidden cannon fire hit the enemy. Fucked. But this tracking, you kid hide deeply. During the friction, the cooperation began to appear. Sun Yu locked Car's escape lane, and the energy cycle accelerated. The second tracking cannon was accumulating. The blue light was opened, like a giant python walking through the maze, and heading straight to the tail of the turtle. Car's armor drama shocked and the shield shattered. Impossible. How can the energy cannon be swayed? He tried to rotate, but the cannon corrected the carriage, and the third launch followed, locking the remaining 2 machines. Sun Yu felt the temperature inside the tank rise, and he passed the warning flash, but he gritted his teeth. 1 shot, full blown. At the end of the peak tracking cannon, the blue light split into a network, and the escape group was accurately hit. The explosion locks, the 5 machines of the Iron Blood Alliance turned into fireballs, and the Star Wars scene was like a feast of fire. The simulation collapsed, and the big letter flashed, the United Academy of Sciences has won the championship. Sun Yu team has 8 strong grades, and the tracking efficiency is 100%. The competition scene was in full swing, and he was thunderous. The projection screen played back the curved blue light, and the audience burst into tears. Sun Yu. No enemy. A shot of it. Sun Yu took off his helmet and crawled out of the boat. Sweat slipped down his face, but the corners of his mouth were swelling. A Ming shouted, Sun Team, magic cannon. They can't even run away. Xiao Wei smiled, the team is perfectly coordinated. Junzi, your invisible shape is just right. Junzi got off the plane, his face was complicated, and wiped the virtual dust on the shadow blade. The energy is good. But your tracking is not wrong. I won't be able to use the power to download the wheel. His eyes were too unwilling, and the internal friction was like an undercurrent, but Sun Yu felt that this was an improvement. The enemy became a teammate, which was better than the sage. In the rest area after the game, Jianhua pulled Sun Yu to the end of the data, and the projection screen was still playing the battle in a circular manner. Boy, it's yours, but don't be proud. Jianhua pointed to the energy curve and his eyebrows were slightly sniffed. Look here, when you tracked the 3rd time, your circulation was miserable. The energy peak exceeded 120%, almost backfiring the nerves. The pursuit was strong, but in the war you relied too much on the system prediction and ignored the dynamic interference of the dead. To optimize, the energy circulation is like breathing. the inhalation is stable, and the release time control is released. Come, simulate the playback, I will teach you micro-tuning. Sun Yu clicked his head, sat in the support, buckled his helmet, and fought hard. At the moment when the blue light swayed, he felt like a thorn. If Car retaliates, then the overload will destroy the team. Chanla's voice is in his ears. The prediction is not entirely based on algorithms, but direct perception. Optimization cycle, the first stage of energy storage is slow, and the second stage of tracking is slightly adjusted to 10% output. Try. Sun Yu danced with his fingers, adjusting the parameters, and the energy in the simulation is flat and stable, and the tracking is more accurate. Outside the wheel, he gasped, "Instructor, I understand. In the past, I just wanted to break the enemy. Now I know that the slightest is not the power, but the control." The inner heart turned like steel quenching, from the stimulating flame to the stable rock. This growth made him stronger. Chanla patted his back, his eyes full of praise. "Good. Your potential has exploded, from the edge of the weak chicken to the 8 strong kings, but the analysis of the weak points in the big game cannot stop. The chase of Iron Blood is the little department, the opponent of the Silver Wing Academy, and their energy cannon is cluster blasting, and the weakness is synchronized in the core, breaking one, and locking it. Team training, Junjia's invisible energy can make loopholes." Sun Yu pointed, "Yes, instructor. Team is my back." But the silence didn't last long. The data at the end of the rest area suddenly flashed red, and the system warning came to Sun Yu's brain: check the main system of the game tampering. Source: Junjia is implanted in the rear door, and is aimed at the tracking gun module, and the offset rail is forced, and the default downloading will collapses. Risk: all teams are eliminated. Repair the counterattack online. Sun Yu's heart sank. Handsome guy is this bastard. He glanced at Junjia sneaking in the corner, and entered the code on the tablet, his face dark. Internal friction is instantly upgraded. Forced to cooperate, but still make trouble. Sun Yu didn't sound, and quietly switched to the hidden end. His fingers were like flashing flying. The system injected a repair algorithm, closed the back door, reverse tracking. In a few seconds, the main system was stable, and the source of tampering with codes was backfired. Junjia's tablet warning masterpiece. The hidden journal appears on the projection screen. Regular tampering exposure, Junjia ID, implanted with offset virus. Certificate is uploaded to the Union Tribunal. The whole rest area was resounding. Aiming glared, "Jun. Are you here again?" Xiaowei sneered, "Cooperation? Bullshit." Jun's face turned pale and the tablet fell to the ground like a shattered, "It's not me. The system is wrong." Sun Yu stood up and looked at him directly, and the sound was heard in the middle of the sound, "Jun, the certificate is in hand. Tampering with my tracking cannon? Want to get rid of the team, you win? Being forced to cooperate, just be honest. Before you get off the wheel, the high level will deal with you." Chanla walked forward and said coldly, "Boy, this is a future of self-destruction." Sun Yu, beautifully rebel, repair not only saved the game, but also exposed the slander. The team was stable, and your slander pushed everyone. Jun was taken away by the security guard, and he glared at him fiercely, "Sun Yu, I remember this hatred." But Sun Yu felt even more indifferent. The shadow came again, and he could not resist the rise. The 8 war star maps are flashed on the projection screen, and the tension feels like current is spreading. Sun Yu looked at his teammates and clamped his fists tightly, just to win the victory. From here, the greater storm approached from the depths of the star circle. The central competition venue of the Federal Institute of Machinery A has turned into a star-stirring melting furnace, and the lights swept across the scene like energy storms. The air is filled with the burning smell of electric burning and the students' breathing sounds. The projection screen is like a giant eye, with high sound entering the cloud, and the movement shows the semi-decision match, the Federal Institute of Science and Technology against Silver Wing, the 4 strong battles. This is the prelude to the international competition. The winners go straight to the game, and the winners leave the field in disgrace. Sun Yu stood in the preparatory area. The iron fusion driving door was on standby, his fingers tapped the cannon barrel lightly, feeling the blue energy line moving like blood circulation. The popularity of the 8 battles is still burning inside. Although Junjia's tampering is exposed, he has been specially placed in high-level special placement under supervision of logistics, and cannot be on the scene. This made the team relax, but Sun Yu knew that the Real Storm was right in front of him. Boy, Silver Wing's leader is the top-selling armorer, named Victor. Jianhua's voice came from the communication device, and the response was as low as an old cannon. He monitored data on the platform, and the gray-blue uniform reflected cold light. His Silver Falcon armor is a specialty in shape, with a secret fire of energy cannons, with a hit rate of 97%. Their team has 5 aircraft, with a wings spread, and is unrestrained in defense. Your tracking cannon is strong, but don't fight head-on. Use teams to sway them to sync with the core. Remember, the big game is not a personal show, it is a strategy. Sun Yu took a deep breath and looked at his teammates. Amin wiped the shield of the anti-arm armor, and Xiaowei checked the snooping device. Sun team, that guy Victor is a foreign school legend. He heard that he had picked up the load and destroyed the 3-stage armor. Ah Ming said in a low voice, his voice trembling, but his eyes were determined. Xiaowei patted him. With the over-control of the Sun team, we won't lose. The iron triangle is on the top. Sun Yu pointed his head, and a warm feeling surged in his heart. From the lonely wolf around to this side, their trust is like a shield, which makes him feel the retightening of the shoulders. Go on. Victory is strong, we are stronger, not talent, but grinding. The referee's voice exploded the whole scene. In the semifinals, the United Wings against the Silver Wings. Simulated scene, Silver Wings Space Fortress Battlefield. The energy cannon is unlimited. Start. The door is sealed, the helmet is buckled, and the world is transformed into a dazzling and deadly space fortress area. The silver turret is floating like a giant horn spreading its wings, and the surrounding rings are shaking to protect the satellites. The background is the collision between the low engine wings and the metal. Sun Yu's iron fusion is centered, Amin's backwards, Xiaowei's side wings are inspected. The Silver Wing team appeared, Victor's Silver Falcon appeared in a flash, the energy cannon was accruing sound, the air shaped like a silver wing spread, 4-machine satellite protection, and secret encirclement. The king of the borders of the United States? Come and try the claws of Silver Wings. Victor's voice came through public channels, carrying a cold and arrogant ridicule. His Silver Falcon accelerated, and the invisible artillery burst into flames. The first blue light shot out without sound, heading straight for Sun Yu's shield. The shock came, sparks were 4 times, and Amin's defense hit the side, but the energy bar dropped wildly. Sun team, they are too striking. The satellite artillery fire network blocked the retreat. Xiaowei shouted in a flash, the sync rate of Victor core is 100%. If you break one, you can lock it up. Sun Yu felt the pressure coming like a tide, and Victor's Silver Falcon walked away like a ghost, and he launched secret cannons, forcing the team to retreat. The debris of the dead were smashed, and the fragments were shattered like rain, shaking the driving force to buzz. His tracking cannon was locked, but the obscure interference reduced the hit rate to 70%. Do you have to die, this invisible? His heart sank. From the 8 strong followers to the current face of the legend, he felt that the gap was like a galaxy. But the system interface pops up, check the shading environment, integrate the shading mode to unblock. Energy cannon secret launching top line, the cannon refracts light, with no sound locking. Fusion depth, extreme breakthrough. Warning, the upper limit pressure needs to be actively optimized. A current flows through the nerves, the surface of the iron fusion appears in a shaped layer, and the barrel buzzes quietly and silently. Instructor of the consciousness mode is activated. Sun Yu said in a private low-key manner. Jianhua immediately responded, okay. The middle-level finger, obstacle is not a hiding, it is a key. Predict Victor's cruise car, he loves the left wing to rotate and uses satellite to cover it. The energy cannon is secretly shot, aiming at the sync core, but don't open it all, leaving 20% of the loop to prevent overloading. Your growth is here, breaking through under pressure. The master and disciple are like an invisible line, tightening Sun Yu's will. He took a deep breath, slightly adjusted his fingers to control the rod, and the armor merged into the mist of the bones, opening all invisible shape. In the field, Victor's silver falcon appears like a blue line, the left wing revolves, and the satellite protection keeps up. Now! Sun Yu roared and shot out the first secret energy cannon. The blue light refracts the light line, like a ghost, traverses the satellite and heads straight to the sync core of the wings of the falcon. Victor saw the strangeness. The falcon turned rapidly, but it was too late. The secret cannon hits accurately, the core reacts with a flash of fire, the silver wing is slightly ill-shaped, a satellite shield shatters, and the locks are vibrating across the team. What? Is the obsessive to the obsessive? Victor spelled, panicking for the first time in his voice. His silver falcon was exposed and the artillery fired, but Sun Yu's team took advantage of the opportunity to counterattack. Amin guarded the shield and Xiao Wei shot and controlled it. The audience was silent for a moment, and then burst into tears. Sun Yu. A secret hit. It turned back. The projection screen enlarged the soundless blue light, and the students stood up and screamed, "The king of the side! Broken the core furnace!" Sun Yu felt that his heart was turning like a flash. In the past, I always followed the genius, but now, I am the runner. The pressure is not a shackle, it is fuel. System upper limit breakthrough prompt flash, fused extreme limit unblocking, energy output plus 50%. From dependence to dominance. He didn't stop, and the second secret cannon was used to accumulate power, locking the falcon where Victor fled. But during the climax, the crisis suddenly occurred. The energy cannon was loaded, the barrel was red and hot, and the small-scale explosion exploded on the iron-fused shoulder. The flames swelled into the sky, the fragments were 4 times, the armored swords were shocked, and the shield collapsed by 20%. The warning was harsh: overload. The core was damaged. Victor seized the opportunity, and the Silver Falcon counterattacked, and the secret artillery fire hit Sun Yu and exposed his weakness. The whole scene was breathing in a bad mood, and a suspicious voice came out: "Sun Yu is over." "Is it overloaded?" Ah Ming shouted, "Sun Team, be patient." Xiao Wei turned anxiously. "Victor has encircled." Sun Yu's vision was blurry, and the explosion was like a thrust into his nerves. He was panicked. This power was too strong, and I almost destroyed the team. But Janla's voice exploded. "Private video, boy, stay calm. Repair during the game, energy cycle reverses, injecting heat dissipation algorithm. Like me, I exploded in the edge of the world, and I endured it, actively repairing, not waiting to die." The master and disciple were like a torchlight. Sun Yu gritted his teeth, and his fingers danced to switch the system. Repair mode is online, and the road is reset immediately. He actively optimized. The energy of the upper limit breakthrough flowed like a tide. The red light of the gun barrel faded, the explosion was absorbed, the iron fusion was reborn, the invisible layer was brighter. "Turn danger and safety," Sun Yu said in a humble manner, and the third secret energy cannon was fully opened. The blue light sounds like a death knife, breaking the core reaction of Victor. The Silver Falcon drama exploded, the fireball swallowed the star cluster without any signs, and the Silver Wing team was completely destroyed. The simulated scene collapsed, and the big letter flashed: "The United Academy of Sciences wins." Sun Yu team's grading and winning teams have a secret efficiency of 101%. The competition scene was like a volcano spray, and the audience shouted, "Sun Yu! Reverse the king! One shot will determine the world." The projection screen replayed the explosion and repaired the scene to the sudden burst, and the students applauded wildly. "If you pass the load, kill it." A strange thing. Sun Yu took off his helmet and crawled out of the carriage, with soft legs but his eyes as stars. The teammates came over and Amin hugged him. "Sun Team, you repair that, it's amazing. We'll decide to play." Xiao Wei smiled. "From chasing to running, you take us to fly." Janhua came from the high platform and patted Sun Yu on the shoulder, with a heavy force as if he was holding, boy, he was fucked beautifully. The guide in the middle of the game was effective, your breakthrough changing from pressure. This is the real king. The master and disciple were expelled, and it continued. Sun Yu laughed gaspingly. Instructor, your words saved me. My heart has changed, and I will no longer chase you. It is the leader. The elbow is deeper, as unbreakable as a steel. But in the joy, the shadows appear. After the game, the data end is flashed in red, the system warning, check logistical interference, source, Junjia monitors the end. The slander emerged. He implanted a virus, planned to decide on your repair module, and joined hands with the foreign school to revenge. Sun Yu's heart sank, and he glanced at Junjia sneaking in the logistics area. He entered the code on the tablet, and his face was twisted like a dog. Internal betrayal is happening again. He is forced to cooperate, and he is actually working with an external enemy. Sun Yu quietly connected to the main terminal. His fingers were flashed. Reverse, expose the source. System injection algorithm, virus crashes, reverse tracking. The flash chat record on the back of the projection screen, Junjia and Silver Wing Party's secret. The final game made Sun Yu self-destruct, and I re-rank it. The whole scene was unhappy, and the security guards rushed over. Junjia's face was white and paper. This is fake. But the witnesses pressed the iron plate, and the audience shouted, betray the dog. Sun Yu resolved the cow. Ah Ming sneered, Junjia, you are isolated. The team will not leave any cancers. Xiaowei replenished the knife. We will go to the game by ourselves. Sun Yu stood up and looked at Junji, who was taken away. His voice was calm and quiet. Betrayal? You have witnessed it in your hand. From chastity to isolation, this is your end. My rise is not based on trampling on people, it is real. Junji stared at him and said, Sun Yu, I will come back in the game. But the high level immediately pronounced the verdict, permanently ban the game and hand it over to the Alliance for judgment. The team relaxed their voices and suggested, boy, resolve beauty. This discount hits doubters, your chances, and you push them to the top of the game. The star map of the game is flashing on the projection screen, and the force is as strong as a bowstring. Sun Yu looked into the night sky and clasped his fists tightly. From weak chicken to running the king, the end of the game was imminent, and the more intense flames were rising from the depths of the fortress. The eve of the decision of the Federal Institute of Machinery, it was like a star explosion waiting to be launched. The lights in the central training area were as dazzling as the swell of energy cannons, and the air was filled with the burning smell of high-pressure electricity and the low words suppressed by students. The projection screen is rolling and the match between the top Star Shield Academy is about to explode. Sun Yu stood in front of the iron fusion drive, his fingers gently swaying the upgraded gun barrel, and the blue energy line moved slightly like a lively fight. The half-decided reversal was still rumbling in his ears, and the team's cry was warm, but he felt a sense of ignorance in his heart. Although Junjia was permanently banned and handed over to the trial, the guy's eyes were like a poisonous snake, and he always felt that his shadow had not dissipated. Boy, don't be stupid before the game. Finally, I'll make you feel warm. Jianhua's voice sounded from behind, and it was as thick as sandpaper and ground through the steel plate. He strode over, the data tablet flashing blue in his hand, and the gray-blue uniform was covered with oil for training. The leader of Star Shield is an old fox, and the energy cannon defense is like an iron barrel. But your current super control mode peaks, and it can finally be able to strengthen it. Multi-layer castle attack and defense, simulate the fortress of the game. Go up and prove your king's aura. Sun Yu clicked his head and drove into the driving wheel, feeling the vibration of the seats as if the heartbeat was synchronized. Amin and Xiaowei were watching around the field. Amin wiped his sweat and said, come on, come on. We will hold on to the top of the game, you can just be the main gun. Xiaowei smiled and replenished his knife. Don't have a hand, Star Shield helps the guy to prevent changes, but your secret gun will be broken as soon as it hits. Sun Yu smiled through the window. Team depends on you, team. I'm coming to open the way. The door clicked seal, with the helmet buckled, and the world switched into an ultimate simulated war scene, a multi-layered space castle, layered like giant honeycombs, outer turrets, inner turrets flashed with blue light, and the background is a low warning buzz and metal twisted replies. The hot waves are like swallowing lava and breathing, and the core of the fortress is lit up with red light, which simulates the iron barrel defense line of the star shield. Start. The energy cannon is fully opened, destroying multi-layer modules. Channel's instructions are transmitted through the communications device, carrying a serious rhythm. The fortress fire was rushing, and the first wave of red energy beam was like a rainstorm basin, which was planned to break the virtual space and directly sweep the iron infusion. Sun Yu pulled the rod and the side of the machine slipped and avoided, and the debris hit the shield, which made his teeth numb. A familiar pressure swelled in my heart. I used to panic and ejaculate, now, it's different. In the brain, the system interface suddenly flashed golden light, end simulation detection, the fusion system upgrade was completed. All-round turret mode unlocking, attack and defense, energy conversion rate is 200%, covering secret tracking, slamming, and protection barriers. Fusion depth, king level. A violent current blew past the nerve ends, his senses expanded to extremes, the barrel buzzed, the blue light condensed like stars, the surface of the armor swelled in a protective field, and a straight strike was opened. Come on! Sun Yu growled and danced with his fingers. The all-round turret was activated, and the first attacking cannon shot out, not a single pure blue light, but a fusion-proof wave, with blue energy like a knife sweeping the outer layer turret. Rush! The turret group exploded, the flames were like smoke, and the four debris shook the entire fortress. The system predicted the slug appeared, but he did not stop. The second launch turned into a protective barrier, and reflected the second wave of red light, which retracted the energy to make the barrel accumulate faster. On the offense and defense. I feel like the machine armor is alive. He was so excited that he integrated all training sessions, pre-order predictions, high-pressure connections, intermediate strategy, and semi-decisive restoration. In all-round mode, the energy cannon is fully opened, like the falling stars, the third and fourth releases. The blue light intersects into a network, wearing the second-level shield, the inner-level castle core is exposed, and the red light moves like a dying heart. The fortress police was harsh, and the inner module was helping the thief, and the touch was dancing and swollen, but Sun Yu's turret was like thunder, and the blue light tore the touch, disintegrating the third level of defense. The temperature inside the carp rises, and warning flashes are over, but he actively optimizes the circulation, the Janwa respiration method, calming the inhalation time, and relaxing time control. The final peak gun was fully opened. The blue light falls like a star, and it straightens the core of the ridge. Multi-layer castle shaking, layer collapsed, explosion fire illuminated the entire simulated space, and fragments scattered like star rains. Striking tips for Comet training area, finally simulated is completed. Destruction efficiency, 99.8%, passed at the king level. Sun Yu took off his helmet and climbed out of the boat. His uniform was soaked in sweat, but his eyes were as bright as stars. The students who were watching the game all burst into tears, and Amin shouted, "Sun Team, Magic Cannon. The stars are falling, this momentum makes the champion stable." Xiaowei clapped her hands. The all-round mode is awesome, the offense and defense are dead ends, and the star shield barrel in the finals will also be broken. Sun Yu smiled gasping, and his inner energy was like a tide, from the weak chicken on the edge. At this moment, I am no longer afraid. Past failures, ridicule, and slander have all turned into fuel. Being fearless is not being invincible, but integrating everything and becoming the king. Janwa strode forward, patted his shoulder, and the force was as heavy as a hug. Boy, fucked beautifully. The all-purpose turret has laid the foundation for your energy, and your energy cannon has gone from extensive to peak. This is a real electric change. Sun Yu looked at him directly, his voice was quiet and firm. Instructor, thank you. From the foundation, the clumsiness of training, to the fear of high pressure, to the reversal of the semi-decided game. I changed. It was not the system, it was the tacit understanding, strategy, and mentality you taught. Rise is not the face of ease, it is the fearlessness in the heart. In the game, I want to be a college and a team, and prove that we are not on the sidelines. Janwa's eyes were flashing beyond the softness of rare eyes. He pulled Sun Yu to the rest area at the scene and said in a low voice, "Good boy, I can hear this path. I was also a soldier back that year, climbing from the star cannon fodder to the instructor, relying on this fearlessness. But there is one thing, I have to tell you, Junjia's back Jing. Not a simple genius, his family is a black market force in the border area, specializing in data hackers and smuggling of armor. Although the high-level banned him, the kid has a backup plan. The court handed over, but he may be in charge of outsiders and destroy your armor before the game. Be prepared mentally, don't let the shadows get rid of the situation." Sun Yu's heart sank and clenched his fist tightly. Black market? It's hard for him to be a fool. "Instructor, I understand. Fearlessness is not a blind eye, but a warning." Janwa pointed out, "Yes, we are in charge of monitoring. Your all-round mode has a protection algorithm, just squeeze it." The voice fell, and the warning in the training area was low. The end of the data flashed and the iron fusion door suddenly opened with a click, and sparks emerged from the blue energy line. Sun Yu rushed forward, touched the cannon barrel with his fingers, and felt an abnormal current flowing into the system. Warns to the brain, check external invasion, black market virus implantation. Source, hidden ID, the back door of the handsome guy. For the all-around turret, the overload collapse was forced. Anti-detection online. The sparks are 4 times, and the surface of the armor is twisted, as if it is torn by an invisible hand. The student at the scene was shocked. What the hell? Sun Yu's armor is damaged. Sun Yu was not panicked, and his fingers were connected to the end, and the system algorithm injected, closed the source head, reverse tracking. In a few seconds, the large word flashed on the final projection screen: virus exposure, black market implantation, source head tracking to Junjia hidden the end. Real-time location, college logistics warehouse. Certificate record uploads high level. The whole scene was dead silent, and then he was stunned. Ah Ming glared, "June. Are you here before the finals?" Xiao Wei sneered, "Black market dog, your soul will never fade away." Janwa's face was blue and pulled Sun Yu straight to the warehouse. "Boy, come with me. Open the quality, this time he will not hide." They rushed into the warehouse. Under the dim light, Junjia stood sneakily in front of the data track, and the tablet in his hand was still entering the code. His face was white, and when he saw them, he tried to hide his picture. "How did you find it?" Sun Yu strode forward, looked at him directly, and heard the sound of the library. "June, black market virus? I will destroy my computer before the game. Do you think the high-level ban is over? The evidence is here, and the entire projection is seen." He activated the communication, and the library projection screen broadcasts simultaneously to the training area. The students rushed in, and the audience spread it in real time through the Alliance channel. Junjia stepped back and looked panicked. "This, wrong. I just, test data." But the tablet fell to the ground, and the chat records revealed, he was in charge of the black market force. The virus made Sun Yu win over the game, I revenge, and switch to the border smuggling channel. The whole scene was filled with voices, and the instructors looked bright, and a senior instructor walked forward. "June, your black market has been in a voice." This time, the Alliance Army intervened and forever banned the Machine A qualification. The students pointed at the point, and aiming shouted, "Sun Yu, anti-detection test." Faced the whole scene. Xiao Wei replenished her knife. "From a genius to a criminal, you have destroyed yourself." Some neutral geniuses even came to support their eyes. "Sun Yunyu, you are not afraid of the king." Janwa said to Junjia coldly, "Boy, I knew your background. How many soldiers have been destroyed in the black market in the border area? I have seen your father's smuggling case with your eyes. Let's stop dirtying the college." Junjia sat on the ground, his face as if dead. "Sun Yu, you won. But in the finals, the Star Shield will not have a handshake." The security guard dragged him away and the warehouse door closed, and the whole field burst into tears. Sun Yu felt that his heart was more stable and he was as fearless as a rock. No matter how strong the harem was, he could not resist growth. Janwa patted him on the shoulder. Boy, this quality is popular. The supervisors support you, and the classmates see you as a hero. In the finals, the iron barrel of the star shield is waiting for your all-around turret to be smashed. Sun Yu clicked the head, looked at the night sky, and decided to count down the competition on the projection screen, 24 hours. The climax is resolved, and the champion's atmosphere is as bright as the stars. But he knew that the Real storm was deep in the fortress of the game, waiting to explode. On the team, he clenched his fist and finally rose to his feet. From here, the enemy king officially surrendered. Terms, 1245. The central competition venue of the Federal Academic Institute of Machinery. It was like a star core that was about to explode. The lights were like violent energy storms spread throughout the field. The air was filled with the pungent burning smell of electric burning and the breath of thousands of visitors. The projection screen is filled with high sound, like a ruthless eye of war, showing the game's reversal: Federal Academy vs. Star Shield Academy, Champions League. Sun Yu stood in the pre-order area. The iron fusion driving door was on standby, his fingers tapped the cannon barrel lightly, and the blue energy line was as powerful as the heart. The extreme heat was still burning in the body. After the virus crisis was resolved last night, the high-level ceiling locked Junjia's back door, but Sun Yu felt that the shadow was like a hidden touch, and it would not dissipate. Before the game, Janhua checked the machine armor by himself, and each line was flashed with the light of upgrading. Boy, the iron barrel defense line of Star Shield is hard, but your all-round turret can smash it. Janhua's voice was transmitted through the communication device, and it was full of power. He stood in the referee's seat on the high platform, his gray-blue uniform reflected a cold light under the light, his eyes like a veteran sweeping at the battlefield. Remember, the game is not a personal grudge, it is a gift from the school. The energy circulates and the team stays tacitly. Amin defends, Xiao Wei is in a surveillance, you are in charge of firepower. No fear of coming to the scene. Sun Yu took a deep breath and looked at his teammates. Ming held the slut tightly, his fat face was covered with sweat, and his eyes were firm. Xiao Wei adjusted the slut, and a confident smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Sun team, the champions are taken. Our iron triangle is invincible. Xiao Wei shouted. Sun Yu pointed at the head, and a warm current surged in his heart. From the lonely side to the current team, the electricity along the way changed like steel quenching, making him feel that he was not holding his shoulders, but wings. Go up. It proves that we are not weak chickens. The referee's voice exploded the whole scene. The final game begins. Simulation scene, the final Star Castle battle. There is no upper limit for the energy cannon. Start. The door is sealed and the helmet is buckled, and the world is transformed into a destructive space castle area. The steel fortress with layers of laminates floats like giant beasts, with turrets on the surface. The energy shield is flashing with blue light, and the core is dynamic in red. The 5 aircraft of the Star Shield team appeared, and the leader Victor drove the Shield King armor. Its shape was like an iron barrel and 4 aircraft were ringed to prevent it from being slackened. Victor's voice came through public channels, and was as cold as a knife. The king of the borders of the United Kingdom? Come and smash my shield, see how many times you can release it. Sun Yu's iron fusion is centered, Amin's back wheeled, Xiao Wei's side wings. In the communication device, he ordered, Xiao Wei explores the way, aiming stays at the top of the first wave. I lock the core. The fortress fired, and the red energy beam was like a rainstorm basin, which broke the virtual space, and the 4 debris shook the driving buzzing. Amin's shield hit the side and the energy bar fell wildly. Sun team, their defense is too thick. The satellite network is blocked. Xiao Wei shouted in a flash, Victo core is synchronized, break the lock. Sun Yu danced with his fingers, the all-round turret was activated, and the blue light condensed like the falling stars. The first launcher shot out, fused secretly, and the blue wave pattern was like a knife swept the outer layer of satellites. Rush! A shield shattered, and the vibrations spread throughout the plane. Victor spelled, still you. This guy's gunfire is strange. The audience was in full swing, and the projection screen enlarged the blue light tilt, Shouting like thunder, Sun Yu opens the magic cannon. Disintegrates the iron barrel. But just as Sun Yu energy storage was in the second time, the system warned the explosion of the brain, check out abnormal invasion. The black market virus is resurrected, source, hidden channel, Junjia ID hijacks the simulation system. The scene was tampered with, Star Shield team replaced Junjia's black market aid troops, and 5 illegal machines were on the line. Risk, the whole scene collapsed. Perfect fusion mode is unblocked, counter-predicting the upper line. The visual field was distorted, the projection screen was flashing red, the Star Shield shape suddenly collapsed, and the black illegal machine armor on the 5 platforms was revealed, and the head was Junjia. He actually hijacked the game system through the black market back door, replaced the opponent, drove a upgraded Shadow Blade Shadow, with a surface covered with a black market-shaped layer, and the gun barrel was energy-saving in cold red. The whole scene was silent, and then he said, Jun? Why did he come on the stage? Black market armor? The audience burst into flames, his high-level face was blue. Janwa roared at Gao Tai, system. Invasion. Sun Yu, stay calm. This is Junjia's crazy revenge. He hijacked the sim and went to the scene illegally. But I guarantee fairness. The Alliance army has intervened and the certificate has been recorded. His voice spread throughout the competition venue through the broadcast. The security guards rushed to the control room, but the sim has been killed and the battle has continued. Junjia's laughter sounded over the channel, twisting like a poisonous snake. Sun Yu, champion? Go to yours. The black market gave me a new armor, this game is my personal grudge. Your system? My virus will let it explode. Brothers, go! Crush this wasteland. His 4 black market aid troops, the smuggling armor, the artillery fire was rough and fierce, became a defense, with red lights emitting, and the debris were like rain, shaking the bone marrow to Sun Yu. Amin guarded the shield, but the energy bar dropped by 50%. Sun team, this helps the black market dogs, firepower is wild. Xiaowei was anxious, Jun is invisible and the aid troops block the road. Sun Yu felt angry, but his heart was cold and cold. Is this crazy guy going to revenge even in the game? The brain system golden light dashing, perfect fusion is completed. All-round turret upgrade, the prediction is fully opened, the energy conversion is infinite, covering the backlash of viruses. Fusion depth, invincible king. An unprecedented force thrusts through the nerves, the iron fusion is like a living creature, the gun barrel is buzzing, and the blue light condenses into an unmatched star explosion. I have no idea in my heart, from ridicule at the training ground, to the fear of high pressure, from the harsh pursuit, to the trust of the team. My rise is not about luck, but about getting up countless times. A shadow on the edge? It has long been broken. Today, I am the king. Junjiang, your defense? It's broken. Sun Yu growled and pulled his fingers down. The first all-round energy cannon was launched. The blue light is like a huge wave, and the fusion of secret tracking of the fusion forces accurately disintegrated the defense of the black market aid troops, not a storm, but a prejudgment carriage. The blue wave pattern penetrates the core of the 2 smugglers, and the explosion of fire is locked, and the debris are like smoke in 4 storms. The handsome Shadow Blade and Shadow retreated, and the shape failed, and the red light burst exposed weaknesses. Impossible. My appearance. Junjia's voice was trembling, and the genius light circle instantly cracked. The whole audience screamed, Sun Yu killed one shot and crushed the black market. The projection screen played back the blue light path, and the audience was like a volcanic spray. Sun Yu didn't stop, and continued to chase and start. The second chasing cannon was like a comet eating, locking Junjia's escaped Shadow Blade. The blue light tilts the trunk, scattered over the artillery fire of the Aider army, wiped the 4 sparks of the shield, shocking the Junjia armor. Don't die. How do you predict my reincarnation? The third launch was fully opened, the energy was transformed infinitely, the blue light split into a network, crushing the remaining 2 Aiders way long. The black market armor turned into a fireball, and the bones hit the fortress, causing a small explosion. Janla's voice exploded in private, Sun Yu, it's very good. The high level has cut off the source of the virus and it's stable. But Junjie was crazy, and he exposed all black market smuggling, system hijacking, and it's all recorded. Perseverance, the team is covered up, I guarantee you win the fair champion. Ah Ming stayed at the top of the house, Sun team, we stayed at the top. Xiao Wei marked Junjie's weakness. Xiao Wei shot and controlled, his gun barrel was too hot, exposed. Sun Yu felt that the king's style was awakened, and his inner thoughts were flashing, the failed boy who was trained in the basic training, the edge waste that was ridiculed by Junjie, the excitement after the awakening system, the strict guidance of the construction, the terrible breakthrough of high-voltage operations, the forward reversal, the tacit understanding of the team, the half-decisive recovery. Every step is a change that dispels the shadow. Now, I am fearless and invincible. Junji, your treacherous things? All your treacherous things have been exposed. Black market aid troops? How many times will they be broken? He shouted, the fourth energy cannon was stolen, and the blue light was as light as the top of the stars. But the original turn of the situation suddenly appeared. Junjie collapsed and shouted, no! Black market support, go! The simulation was twisted, and the three platforms had aid troops emerged from the virus rift. Illegal giant armor, artillery fire was like a storm, blocking Sun Yu's retreat. The big energy accumulated red cannon in the aid army, and the iron fusion was swept. Boy, Boss Junjie said, you've destroyed. The whole scene was breathing, more black markets? The final battle collapsed. Victor's Star Shield party was watching the battle, with a complexion, this is too awkward. The system prediction in Sun Yu's vision is fully opened, 3 machine carriage locked, weak point, joint barrel synchronization. Predict the entire route to the upper line. He sneered, hide the aid army? The judgment is over. His fingers danced, the peak of the all-around turret was reversing, the fifth blue light was like a death knife, fusing the virus backlash algorithm, not direct shot, but injecting in the road, and the blue light penetrated into the aid army system, and overloaded their gun barrels in the reverse direction. Rush! The 3 machine giant armor exploded inside, the red light was destroyed by itself, and the fragments were like stone rain, which made the whole scene boil. Sun Yu predicted his magical skills. The whole black market. No king. Junjia's shadow blade is isolated, the gun barrel is hot and cracked, and his voice is shattered. No. My genius light ring, black market power, is completely destroyed. Sun Yu, you monster. His armor stumbled, trying to make the last try. The red light was storming, but Sun Yu's 6th development was about to be developed, and the blue light locked the core. The climax layer in the first half of the battle turned, and the battle fort was still moving, and the storm had not dissipated, but Sun Yu's kingly aura was as unblocked as blue light. Janla's encouragement came out, boy, hold on. The high-level army has blocked the black market channel, and Junjia's exposure will never turn over. Your rise will be seen in the whole field, the champion, in your hands. Sun Yu held the rod tightly and buzzed the rod, and the blue light was even more intense, and he was as fearless as a galaxy. The reverse turn just began, and finally he was about to surrender. Number of words, 1248. The simulated space of the central competition venue is like a boiling lava, the skeletons twisted in the explosion waves, and the debris scattered like ash in the wild wind, and the pungent burning smell of electric burning and the melting low birds of metal are filled with the air. Sun Yu's iron fusion stands in the center of chaos, the cannon barrel buzzes like the heart beating wildly, and the blue light is waiting to be developed. The handsome shadow blade and shadow are isolated and helpless. The black market layer on the surface is shattered, revealing a twisted red energy line. His 4 aid troops have turned into fireball slags, but the guy's eyes are as crazy as a trap. The invisible armor stumbles back and suddenly locks the virus rift deep in the castle. Sun Yu, do you think this is over? The black market is not giving toys, but killing. Junjia's roar was transmitted through the channel, twisting like a steel wire roasted by fire. His fingers frantically fucked the rod, the shadow blade and the shadow's shoulders were bulging, and a black and red energy core was exposed, and the buzzing bird was upgraded to a sharp tip. The virus rifts expanded, and 2 giant black market armors were found out from the inside. They were smuggled taboos. Their body shapes were like small forts, their gun barrels were as thick as trees, their surfaces were engraved with illegal runes, and their red light energy storage was like a door of the earth. Go! Join me, energy resonance cannon, break this kid! Junjie shouted. The 8 of the army was moving, and the red energy beams intertwined into a network, directly squeezing Sun Yu, and the heat waves were swept, which made the iron infusion shield flash. Amin shouted in the back, Sun Team, retreat. There is a ghost in this red light, and the energy resonance will penetrate the shield. Xiaowei's detective machine replied in a flash, the resonance core has locked you, the predicted hit rate is 90%. The audience members gasped in a breath, the projection screen enlarged the red network, and the students' screams were terrifying. Panic, the black market is absolutely trick. Sun Yu is in danger. On the high platform, Jian's fist was tight, and his voice exploded privately, boy, stay up. The army has cut off the external signal, but it is simulated and killed, and the battle continues. Your all-round turret predicts the resonance weakness, the black market goods are unstable, and the core overload is explosive. Sun Yu felt the pressure was like a landslide. The red net approached, the energy strip of the iron fusion fell rapidly, the temperature inside the ferrule rose like a fire, and the sweat slid down, making the ferrule crawling like a crawler. In his vision, the system interface is blinking, crisis detection, the origin of the fusion system is revealed, host Sun Yu, the star transmission factor awakens. The system is not an external object, but a fusion of ancient human technology and nerves, originating from the ancestors of the borderland to resist alien residency. Final unlock, energy blasting mode. Power, destroy the level, cover the entire venue in one launch, permanently upgrade the host control accuracy plus 100%. Forecast, the international journey begins, and the enemy will last forever. An unprecedented warm current penetrated the spine, as if the sleeping stars in the body woke up, the nerves and the armor were integrated, the irons were fused like living things, the blue light of the cannon tube condensed into a whirlpool, and the energy was like an infinite galaxy. The inner self is like a flashing plan, origin. It turns out that the system is not a golden finger, but my own transmission. From this moment, I didn't rely on my luck, but proved myself. The harp, ridicule, the black market, is all broken. Junji, you're killing. My final. Sun Yu growled, his fingers lightly fucking the rod. The energy explosion mode is fully opened, and the blue light vortex is like a black hole swallowing the red network. The prejudgment algorithm has weak points, the loading point of the resonance core, precisely locking the 3 machines. The whole scene was quiet and the audience was breathtaking. Sun Yu pulled the trigger and the energy burst out after the destruction. The blue light is no longer a single beam, but explodes into countless starlights, rolling into the fortress area like a supernova explosion. The first wave of starlights tear apart the red network, and the waves backfire the core of the reinforcement armor, the enemy. 2 giant black market goods exploded inside, and the red light collapsed into a fireball, and the fragments were like stones and rain. The second wave of the Shadow Blade and Shadow directly swept through the Shadow Blade. The blue light was penetrated and the load point was over, the Shadow Blade was shaken, the gun barrel cracked like glass, the explosion fire swallowed the armor without any armor. Junji's cry said, no. My genius, the black market, is completely destroyed. The third wave of the virus cracks swept through the scene, the scene collapsed violently, the fortress turned into smoke, and the battle ended. The big letter flashed the projection screen with big characters, United States Academy. Sun Yu's team champion. Energy explosion efficiency, 100%. The competition venue was like a volcano spray, and the sound was shocking the earth. Tens of thousands of students stood up and applauded, screaming like a tide, Sun Yu. The enemy king. A shot to the black market. A counter-roaring legend. The projection screen played back the blue light, the starlight as bright as a god, the audience in the foreign school was silent, and the Star Shield's victor murmured, monster. What kind of cannon is this? Sun Yu took off his helmet and climbed out of the driving force. His legs were soft but his eyes were as clear as a galaxy. The system's origin revealed that he filled his heart, and a stream of peace that had never been seen before. I knew myself clearly. It's not a sidewall, nor is it a system's health. I am Sun Yu, the king of fusion of ancestors' inheritance. The days of inferiority, fear, and ridicule in the past have all turned into strength. Growth is not about piles of pleasure, it is about awakening at this moment. I have value, unlimited value. Teammates rushed forward. Amin hugged him and shouted, "Sun Team. The champion. Your explosion is amazing." Xiaowei smiled and said, "From the team side to the heroes of the whole school, we will fly with you." Jianhua strode from the high platform, and the rare smile on his face was like a shattering fog. He grabbed Sun Yu's arm, and the force was as strong as a slam of armor. He was full of pride. Boy, fucked beautifully. With a break, the crazy decision ended. I see your growth from a clumsy boy who trains in the basics to a fearless king. This reverse is evidenced by the whole school. The lights of the whole venue focus on the award platform, and the high-level military will lead the champion of the platform, holding a flash of the championship, a blue energy crystal core, symbolizing the glory of the top armored master. Sun Yu connected, and the crystal core moved in the palm of his palm, as warm as the origin of the system. But the liquidation has not ended. Jianhua turned to the projection screen, activated the military channel, and Junjia's image flashed. He had been held in the control room by security guards. His face was as white as a dead person, and the Shadow Blade and Shadow's slaying was still experiencing smoke. "Jun, your traits have been exposed," Jianhua said coldly, and the sound was passed through the broadcast competition venue. Black market smuggling, system hijacking, illegal appearance. The Alliance army has intervened, and your family is at the end. How many soldiers have been destroyed in the black market and the border? Today, starting from you, liquidation. The military will lead the head, project the flash certificate, chat records, virus codes, smuggling lists. All the students in the school heard a lot, pointing out, "Betray the dog. Sun Yu's reversal will crush you." Junjia murmured, "Sun Yu. I've lost, but you are always on the edge." The security guard dragged him away, and the permanent ban was immediately effective, and the news of the collapse of the black market was like wildfire. Sun Yu looked straight through the video, and his voice was calm and quiet across the scene. "Jun, you've lost it from laughing at me. It's not because of the system, but because I've proved myself. The college is not a genius game, but a genius battle. Looking at the whole school, from weak chickens to champions, this is my way." The students burst into a louder voice, "Sun Yu. Hero. Reversing the king." The old identities of the surrounding small group came to admire their eyes, and even the geniuses lowered their heads. "We're wrong, he's the real king." The prize continued. Jianhua put on a glorious style on Sun Yu with his hands, and his disciple stood on the stage with his shoulders. Jianhua said in a low voice, "Boy, you are ready for the future international journey. The military invites you to go straight to the border to achieve a war. Your fusion origin is the hope of human beings." Sun Yu pointed at the head. His heart was as peaceful as the stars. "The value is clear, and the road has been opened. System prompts to hide. Permanent upgrade is completed. Control accuracy plus 100%, predicted. Star threat is waiting for you to conquer." The lights are shining throughout the field, the champions are fired, and the buzzing breath of the competition arena, but Sun Yu's flames will never be extinguished. The stars in the surrounding area are quietly calling, and a wider battle scene is extending here. Number of words, 1247. The voice of the competition venue rolled in like a star storm. The light focused on the prize table, and the blue energy crystal core moved in the palm of Sun Yu, like a living star. The sound of thousands of students vibrates the air, mixed with the warm burnt fragrance and the smell of sweat, making the whole space feel as hot as a festival. On the projection screen, the champion's screen freezes. Sun Yu's iron fusion stands in the explosion fire, and the blue light explodes as bright as a magical wing. The school history of the United Machinery College has been circulated from this moment as legend. Sun Yu, the king of energy cannon, has evolved from a weak chicken to an enemy-free legend. Sun Yu held a prize cup, and the whole scene was even more terrifying. Someone shouted, "King! Sun Yu!" He felt his heartbeat synchronized with the crystal core, and a warm current surged in his heart. This is not a dream. From the ridiculed training boy to the current hero of the school, everything is worth it. Jianhua walked forward and patted his shoulder, with the force as heavy as an old warrior. "Boy, congratulations. The school king is not a headman, but a responsibility. Your energy cannon has gone from basic clumsy to blasting peaks, and the school is remembered by Shuyong." Sun Yu turned to look at him and said, "Instructor, you are not you. I am still crawling around. I remember that in the first training session, my energy cannon was not even locked, and Junjie and the others laughed into a group. Now, a black market was broken." Jianhua snorted and said, "That was you who got up by yourself. Growth is not given by the system, but you grit your teeth and face fear, harshness, and pressure. Come on, let's talk about the future." At the end of the prize, the teams rushed to the college's memorial scene. The night wind blows, carrying the blue light projected by the star map, and the smell of smoke remains in the air. Amin and Xiaowei followed, and Amin wiped his sweat and said, "Sun team, what's the feeling of the championship? We are surrounded by teams, and now it's a hero team." Xiaowei poked him with a smile. "Don't be there, Sun Yu, you must be savoring the whole way in your heart, right? From the planned air cannon to the blast of the game, the electric changes, don't explode." Sun Yu pointed at the head and stopped in front of the energy monument in the center of the building, where there were full of the names of the kings of the past. He touched the monument and felt that the ice-cold metal came like a reverberation. "Yes, after I was admitted from the Edge planet, I fell into the basic simulation on the first day. When the snails came, I was stuck in the aura, and my mocking was like a knife. I felt so inferior that I wanted to quit, but after waking up the system, no, it was me who woke up the potential. The pressure training of the instructor of the consciousness, the breakthrough of the inner demons of high pressure, the tacit understanding of the battle. Every step made me stronger from a weak chicken. A sense of accomplishment? Like this monument, forever." Jianhua leaned against the monument and hugged his arms and said, "Boy, you're right. The growth is clear, from relying on the energy to the dominant war. This is the king's logo. The school history tells the legend of your energy cannon, but what about the future?" The military invited a book to go straight to the real war in the border area. "Are you ready to conquer the star threat?" Sun Yu's eyes lit up. "Preparation, instructor. But I don't want to go too fast. The college needs me. I want to stay, as a new generation of supervisors, inherit the spirit of the arrogance. Teach those side kids that the arrogance is not a toy, but a partner. Just like you taught me, it is very heartwarming." Jianhua was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. "Good boy. This idea is good. Teachers and disciples inherit, you will take over after I retire. The threat of the border is not waiting for anyone, but the fire and the arrogance will make you ignite." As he was speaking, the projection screen of the building suddenly flashed, and the whole school broadcast started. "Urgent notice. All the Federal Academy of Sciences should pay attention to the championship. For the Qing dynasty, King Sun Yu will open a demonstration of the ultimate energy cannon. Simulating the invasion of alien motherships, destroying the demonstration, and start immediately." The students came from all directions, the building was filled with crowds, and the buzzing birds in the air were like bees. Sun Yu felt excited. This was a high-level surprise. Not only the school, but also the power of the United Nations was shown to the whole people. He went to the demonstration platform, the iron fusion was in place and the door was opened. "Boy, show them. In the live broadcast of all humans, your legend will be affected by the stars." Sun Yu put on his helmet, and the world switched to a simulated war scene, a remote planet, a scattered alien mothership floating in the sky, with an asteroid, a touching hand dancing and releasing group, a red shield flashing, and a low invasion warning and storm cry. The mothership was fired, and the red bundles hit the ground like rain, shaking to the bone marrow of Sun Yu. A king hits it, start. Sun Yu said softly and danced with his fingers. The all-round turret mode is fully opened, and the system is golden light dashing. International industrial development has been completed. The origin of fusion, the fusion of paleo-human technology and alien retention, and the energy explosion is upgraded to a production cannon attack. Power, team level, covering prediction, backlash, and transformation. Foresee, when a real threat comes, the host leads the confrontation. A vast force rushes in, the iron fusion moves like a star, the blue light from the cannon barrel condenses into a whirlpool, and the energy is like a galaxy. The whole scene was breathed, and the projection screen was broadcast live simultaneously to the entire network, with millions of viewers paying attention. The mother's hand came, and the trunks were like a dark tide. Sun Yu was slid and shrunk, and his heart was calm. This demonstration was not just refreshing, but inheritance. With your fingers pulled down, the industrial cannon shot out. The blue light burst into countless stars, rolling into the battlefield like a supernova. The first wave of tearing the gang, the blue light penetrated the touch, and the waves backed on the mother's shield, and the red light broke like glass shattered. The second wave locks the core, the stars are caught like sharp blades, the mother ship shakes, the internal explosion locks, and the flames penetrate the sky. The third wave of the whole scene was swept, and the blue light vortex was swallowed without any damage. The mother ship turned into a fireball and fell, imitating the planet to be saved. At the end of the demonstration, Thunderbolt burst into sounds in the gallery. Sun Yu. Legend. Destroy the mother's ship. The entire network of people exploded, and praised it as a tide, the King of United. The energy cannon savior. Sun Yu walked out of the car, sweat slipping, but the corners of his mouth were full of smiles. On the side of the students, someone shouted, "King, teach us." He pointed, "Okay, start tomorrow, I'll take you to train in the new student." The coolness has not yet dissipated, and an unexpected turn has quietly fallen. The hospital police report low-headed birds, and the projection screen switches real border images. The alien clan truly invades, and a small fleet approaches the United Frontier planet. The high-level sound sounded, urgent. King Sun Yu, your industrial cannon is proven. The military authorized to lead the elite of the college to fight against the real threat. Sun Yu was nervous, but his eyes were determined. Here is coming, the international journey. System evolution tips, properties are activated, lead the school, and protect people. He turned to Janhua, instructor, together? Janhua pointed out, of course, the teacher and the disciples are on their shoulders. The team gathered, and Aiming and Xiaowei got on the machine armor. Sun team, we follow. The elites of the school responded, and the machine armor team took off. Sun Yu drove the iron fusion head, the blue light flashed, and went straight to the edge. During the war, the mother of the zombie appeared and touched her hands to dance, but Sun Yu's industrial cannons were fully opened, and a blue light burst out to disintegrate the fleet, causing waves to sweep the group. The United Nations is winning, and the whole person shouts, Sun Yu Guardian. After the battle, Sun Yu returned to the school and news about Junjia's situation came. He was sentenced by the military and was banned from the qualifications of the AA forever, but after the black market collapsed, he wrote a letter to repent. Sun Yu, I am wrong. The genius light is fake, your growth is real. If the situation changes, I will punish you. After reading the letter, Sun Yu had no regrets in his heart. It's past. There is no conflict, everyone move forward. After discussing the future with Janhua on the internet, Sun Yu officially became the new generation of supervisors. In the first class, he said to the freshmen, armor is not a weapon, it is an extension of you. Starting from the edge, grit your teeth and get up, like me. Janhua smiled beside him, boy, you inherited it. Sun Yu looked at the star and reflected in his heart, from a weak chicken to an enemy-free king, this phone has changed without regrets. The sense of accomplishment is like the blue light forever, and I am here on the international journey. The fire in the college is burning towards the universe without any consequences. Terms, 1249.